was really scary. What did you do last night? Walk the dog.
Like guys, everyone we're on.
For what?
Whatever you're on. Guys, we're on.
We go to New York or what?
Okay. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, Town Hall, and mailing to the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Town Hall at 7 p.m. on March 17th, 2025.
Chandra Mardani,
Here.
Gary Rosen.
Here.
Regina Truitt.
Here.
Beth Zoll,
Here.
David Bradford.
Here.
Joseph Caulfield.
Here.
Justin Black.
Here. So we have no resolutions tonight. I do want to make an announcement that calendar 3974-24, the property location is 389 Milburn Avenue. The applicant is 389 Milburn LLC, has been carried to April 7th, 2025 for scheduling purposes only.
And then once we actually adopt, well, at that meeting, when we adopt the new dates, we can carry it to the new date.
Yeah, so again, that's just for scheduling purposes. Okay, so first up, we have calendar 4020-24. The property location is 88 Stewart Road, and the applicants are John and Regina Gesenderman.
You got John here.
Okay. You wanna come up?
Good evening. My name is Maria DeCosmo. I'm the architect of record.
Let me raise your right hand, please. You swear from testimony you're about to give in tonight's hearing to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. State your name again for the record, please.
Maria, Maria. My last name is DeCosimo.
Would you mind just giving me your qualifications so I can?
I'm a registered architect in the state of New Jersey for the past 30 years. And before. Several boards have been before here for this project. The Historic Committee.
And the license is in good standing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, we have a property, 88 Stewart Road, and it's actually burdened by a lot of atypical conditions. And these conditions imposed on this property have caused a hardship, and hence the variances we're asking for. We are asking for a variety of variances, but if the property was conforming, especially to lot coverage, which existing is about 25,000, and the minimum lot coverage required, lot size. The minimum lot size required is 29,000. If it conformed, we would be in good standing with most of the variances. The other conditions are the fact that the radius causes this to be a corner lot, imposing 2 front setbacks, and the majority of the rear yard is steep slope. So we sort of start off at a little handicap. The Gesentermans purchased the property without a attached or detached garage. And that is one of the things we are looking to propose for the project. The garage, which is a basic necessity, creates.
So, wait, before you continue, Maria, are the plans that you have on easel, are those the plans that have been submitted to the board?
They are.
Okay, have there been any modifications to those plans since they've been submitted?
No.
Okay, thanks. So this one you refer to as you're going from sheet to sheet, if you can just identify the sheet by sheet number or letter, please.
Yes, I'm referring to sheet C-2.
Thank you.
So, due to the condition that it's a corner lot, it makes it difficult to site a garage that is not front-facing. That is one of the variances we're requesting, is the front-facing garage. What we did do, though, is we set it to the rear of the property. The property slopes, so positioning it back here, we create the least amount of coverage, but yet the least amount of visibility as well. So from the grade at the road to back here is a 10-foot drop. So you wouldn't basically not even see the garage. So I felt like we sort of took care of that front-facing garage the best we could. The coverages that occur we're over in lot coverage. You can see these are the variances. We have a minimum side yard setback variance we encroach on. We have a maximum building coverage that we're over 1.2%. We have a lot coverage, we're over 1.3%. We have a maximum accessory lot coverage for the corner lot. We're over 4.7%. And then the other ones pertain to the garage, which is maximum height grade to roof ridge. We are 3.3 feet taller, and garage facing the street. We are facing the street. We don't conform to not facing the street. Once again, if the lot coverage was conforming to the 29,000 square feet, we would have eliminated most of the variances except for the ones that pertain to the garage, the height, and the front setback. So that these conditions declare the lot existing non-conforming, resulting in unnecessary hardships that inhibit the usefulness of the property. And what we're asking for is common to the rest of the neighborhood. The corner lot, the property 88 Stewart being a corner lot, increased the maximum accessory use lot coverage. Otherwise, we would have conformed in that classification also. The corner being a corner lot, the house is situated mostly to the right. So the setback we have here to the left, all the building is pressed up against that setback line. When we add a garbage containing structure over here, we violate the side yard setback. The sloping grade, we are looking to add a two-car garage, add some square footage to the existing small patio that's there now. We'd like to have a pool and this enclosed trash container. Because the lot is greatly sloping, it makes it hard to have an outdoor, somewhat of an outdoor life. So, and the existing patio, which is this white area here, doesn't, because it's mainly used for circulation, doesn't really allow for like a social area. So we'd like to extend the patio a bit, and then of course, because we're going out towards a recessing grade, a reclining grade, we're chasing it with a stair. We've used a minimum amount of surround around the pool. We've used a common size pool in the area. And everything we've done is basically to the minimum to try to achieve and come before you and request these variances. I believe with respect to the R3 zone regulations and the acquired burden land condition, the proposed application represents basic minimal requests for the modifications according to the owner's wishes and hopeful lifestyle. It is also, anything we've asked for is in accordance with the neighbors and the neighboring area. Right now, only this arched driveway exists. This is where the consumptionists have to park their vehicles. This is a very poetic street, so any guests or family really don't have much room to park here. Have to use the side roads, which is really it's imposing on the street. It's not a basic two-way street. So this driveway and the garage will alleviate a lot of that. Right now, we've actually, this trash container, it is probably the best location for the nature of the fact that this is a side entry. We would have considered putting it in the garage, but this is quite a distance to be bringing your garbage. Right now, the cans are just lined up on the side here underneath the porte-cochere. Also, you can see, this is A1. You can see in more detail what we've proposed for the patio extension. It's more an area for a table and seating and a cooking area. This is the trash receptacle over here to the right of the porte-cochere to enclose trash cans and recyclables. I believe its height is like 4 feet. I have a section to be exact. Nope, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. The height of the proposed trash container is 4'6". Even though we violate the side yard setback here, it encroaches by a little over 4 feet. The structure is not as tall as an allowed fence. So I don't believe that it's obstructing any type of views or is hindering anyone's sight. The neighbor to the right, their side of their home has one window, and that window is on the second story. It's a double hung window, and half of the window is occupied by an air conditioning unit. There is also large evergreen shrubberies against that side yard. So the person that it would affect the most would be this neighbor, and I do not believe that it imposes any hardship or any visual implications for that neighbor. As far as the height of the garage, you can see here in this section on A2, the garage is at the back of the yard, and the elevation is lower than that of the street. The height restrictions that we violate are based on existing land conditions, the land existing there now. We propose to have a retaining wall, which will alleviate the height violations.
So what is the height variance that you're seeking with regard to the detached garage?
The maximum height, grade to roof, is 21 feet, 21.3 feet. And,
And the maximum permit is 18 feet?
yes. But in the front, we're at 16 feet. At the front where the grade will be level, we are at 16 feet, and the allowable is 18 feet. The height calculations are based on the average at 10-foot intervals, which, because the land slopes drastically in the rear, increased our average height. So the front elevation of the garage is at 16.9. So that actually is underneath the 18 feet, but as we take the average on 10-foot intervals, it creates our average to be higher than what is permitted. The garage itself is a 2-car garage, and the space over here is to house the pool equipment so that there isn't any, it will buffer any noise created from pool equipment. The neighbor, because this is all pushed to the rear of the yard, and the neighbors adjacent, that would be the neighbor's adjacent rear yard. So in consideration for the neighbor, the pool equipment has been enclosed.
What are the dimensions of the pool and how do they compare to the dimensions of pools in the surrounding neighborhood?
The dimension of the pool is 18 by 38 feet, and that's about average.
Does that include the hot tub portion of it?
No, the
Is
hot
that
tub is
additional?
not. The hot tub is up, elevated as part of the patio.
The square footage of that, just offhand.
About 8 feet by 8 feet.
So you're over, I think, if the math is, if I didn't math correctly, are you over, by your accessory coverage? You're going over by over 1,000 square feet, right?
It is 4 points, and whatever that,
Yeah, it's 4.7%, but what is the square
Right.
footage?
what has, excuse me?
The square foot, like the square footage overage.
Um,
I think it's over 1,000 square feet. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's on your sheet C2.
$1,190.
Yeah.
We,
I mean, that's a really large increase. I mean, did you give any consideration to trying to lower that in any way?
well, once again, the corner lot imposes the 7% instead of the required 10%. So we sort of got, pushed back by that.
Just to follow up on that, I mean, if we're talking about the garage coverage, I mean, like the garage itself is, you mentioned pool equipment, but it's really a cabin, isn't it, for the pool?
No,
It's a changing
no.
room as well? No?
no, we've accessed the rear of the basement for that.
Okay.
That is
It's
not,
labeled, in
It's
It
labeled.
says changing room.
it says changing room in the document.
well, it's not, we've accessed the basement right here,
Gotcha.
and that will occur down there, right underneath this portion right here.
So could you leave the pool equipment outside like everybody else's pool and just make it a garage to bring down your coverage?
Could do that.
I mean, the physical size of the garage is reasonable in and of itself. The interior 21 so by 20.
Well,
That's good size, it's not big, it's not tiny.
we actually proposed a garage that was less in size, and then we faced the regulation of, there's a new regulation of the depth of the garage, so we had to increase it.
But I mean, a garage is a necessity. I mean, did you give any consideration to scaling back the patio expansion or the pool? Is that all? I mean, you could still do it, right?
Yes, can still do it. The patio, I don't believe, is in excess. The problem here is that because the grade slopes in the rear, the elevation of the house, the rear of the house is elevated, the first floor plan. So a lot of what you see is circulation. Whether it's used by stairs or getting out, a lot of it's used by circulation. So there's just a limit to what you can do when you have circulation and you would like to have some social setting for it all to be comfortable. I don't believe that, all with steps and everything, it does increase the number, but the actual area here, I don't believe is an excessive patio area. We are burdened by coverages that increase by pushing this all the way in the back, but we feel that we'll take it because this is the best location for the garage. We've minimized anything around the pool. If you would like to have it smaller, that's a possibility. But I don't believe anything like the patio, or if you want to take out the pool equipment. But I basically held back to minimums.
Are you finished your testimony? By the way, I never
Just
asked you
give us,
questions. Have you
just
finished?
1 second for Rob to.
So when you come up with the 11 point, whatever it is,
propose.
11.70%, right? Does that include all the driveways on the lot?
No, that's accessory only. So accessory would be the pool.
So it's just the pool, the patio,
And the
and
garage.
the garage?
So the garage, so if the percentage, if it wasn't a corner lot and the percentage was 10 feet, then we would be over the 1 point something. But we actually conformed to that by cutting the garage back, but then it was brought to our attention that the new ruling states that there's a minimum depth to a garage, so it increased more.
So what's the square footage of the pool room, the pool room next to the house?
It's on the plan of the garage, which is A2, and it is about 9 feet by 16 feet.
Question, are you finished your testimony? Have you finished all of the facts you wanted to present?
I've stated the facts, but I'd like to say that with respect to the zone, various relief on all accounts can be, I believe that can be made without any detriment to the neighbors in the neighborhood. The essential character of the neighborhood will not be altered by any of the variance relief, by relief of any of the variances. And adversely, it won't impact the public health, safety, or welfare. In fact, granting relief for most of these things consequently not only benefits the owner, but will benefit the neighbors as well. I am sure, having cars parked out here is not the most attractive. And of course, looking at bright blue, large trash cans.
Yes, the fence, the existing fence or no?
It is not an existing fence.
Pulling that back out of the front yard? Or
It is.
it's in the front yard right now. Are you pulling it back? Stewart Road, that was,
No,
that's part of the variance.
No.
Just noticing something.
I think you said the fence is in the front yard?
Well, it's on Stewart's.
Oh, Stewart, yeah. But why weren't they
I just,
noticed?
so the fence went through,
Well, yeah, but
it's
it's,
historic.
yeah,
right,
but they wouldn't need a variance for a front yard,
They
Yeah.
would, it
so,
wasn't spelled out.
yeah.
So it's a 7 reads.
6 foot variance.
we don't have any details on the fence here because it was all done with the historic board.
Yeah, you would need something for that. So it's-
I do have a question, but I wanted to make sure you were finished.
Sure.
So I drove by yesterday, I can understand how difficult it is to pull over on Stewart Road. So I actually don't have any problem with your garage, but you are asking for a bunch of ordinances. And there's a hardship, we do have to take all factors into consideration. But have you given thought to putting the hot tub inside the pool, like in a corner of the pool? That would save you a lot of hardscaping.
So that's originally where it was located as a suggestion by the pool person, except that a hot tub is not used only when the pool is open. So because of the nature of that whole first floor being somewhat a distance from the ground level where the pool is located, it does not make it easily accessible in any time but the summer when the pool is open. And the best time for a hot tub is not in the summer. So that's why it was elevated to the patio.
Because that would save you a lot of, at least some of your overage.
Understood. It's a catch-22. So we are putting it before you and asking permission.
And then what is the drop between that? I was struck by on your plans, and sorry, I looked at my computer because I left my
That's okay.
brought the wrong packet. But anyway, what is the drop between the hot tub and the pool? Because it looked like there's a waterfall there, but
It is, there is, just so that you're not seeing a wall. I don't have a section or an elevation for you.
it looks like it could be as much as 8 to 10 feet,
It's not that.
but you don't know what it is.
Um,
It's not a deal breaker. I'm just pointing out that it looks like a safety hazard to me. It looks like if I were a teenager, a drunk adult, or anyone who's just feeling adventurous, I would die from that hot tub into the pool. We can't rule on that. I'm just commenting on it. Since you want
5.5
something.
feet, by the way.
It's
um,
5.5 feet drop. Oh, good for you.
It's actually less convenient to do something as ridiculous as that than if it was the wall of the patio. Because at that point where there is a whirlpool and then the pool, there is a drop where the water is and then a ledge. So you would actually have to go up onto the ledge. It's not as easy as, I know it looks like that. It looks like there's, oh, wow, you're
That's-
providing a surface for jumping off. But it's really not that easy.
Thanks.
You mentioned steep slope a few times in your testimony. We don't have a steep slope situation here where you're disturbing more than 1,000 square feet of it. Is that correct?
I believe the steep, we do have a steep slope condition and the engineer is actually here to support that.
Okay.
That is, one of the characters of the land that has caused a hardship.
But I think the question is, what, you have it, you have
Didn't
it.
provide anything. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
There's nothing mentioned about disturbing steep slopes in excess of 1,000 square feet. There's no steep slope analysis.
Do not seek to comply with it.
Wait, they're not
Well,
gonna-
it's-
Okay.
And then turning to the garage height, that's one of the accessory height that you're mentioning. And you went through how you're identifying the height because you're taking the average of the 10-foot elevation and going down the side. But you have a loft in the garage. Could you give the idea of, any thought the idea of a lower pitch roof to
Well,
create,
you know,
to eliminate some of that?
Some things, right, especially in a neighborhood as substantial as this, some things are based on aesthetics.
Your plans are great. I'm a big fan, by the way. I mean, just your packages are
So,
outstanding.
Mhm.
To
Yeah,
have a
handwriting.
And a
squat,
great garage design with that window effect. I see where you're going. but-
and you know, my client is so willing to put in, you know, extra amenities for aesthetic consideration. That loft area is not really providing a loft area, but, you know, the extra height does give the building some presence, so that it's not, I mean, it's not like this squat thing, because it is being recessed down. It is actually under if the land was flat at that point, it's actually, you know, under the allowable garage height. So it's nothing in excess or, you know, or exceptional that we're able to.
We've had some discussions amongst people in the town that height's becoming a rather popular issue. So we wanted to just give you the opportunity to address that.
Right, and I believe that, you know, once the retention is in and the land is graded out, that would disappear, but we're obligated to take it at the existing, the land existing now. So I don't believe that will even be a height issue.
I'll go again. The refuse recycling center,
Yes,
you're pushing that right to the neighbor.
well,
Sorry,
yes.
I'll hold this. Given any concern, pushing your essentially the trash to the neighbor on the other side, I can understand why you would put it there, and it's a very well designed again, but you're looking for us to approve a side yard variance just for trash cans.
Understood. I'm just trying to, besides the fact that this portion from the edge of the house to the setback line is minimal. So, you know, we have this portico shore here where we're gonna be passing through. It's not really, this is tight as it is, so there's really not any area here to put trash. To go to the garage is quite an extent, it's quite a distance, and I don't know that the rear yard sort of any place allows for it either. So this is actually very convenient, that is true. It's convenient for using it, and it's also convenient for taking it to the curb. We didn't leave it open, we enclosed it and tried to make it aesthetically pleasing so that it's not a visual, it's not imposing visually. We kept it as low as possible, and we used materials that actually are already there. So we are hoping that you found it as a benefit rather than a hindrance. And as I did mention, the landscaping over here are all very tall adult evergreens, and this side of the home really has no view there.
At this point, I mean, if something changes in the future, someone, God
That
forbid,
is
tear it
true.
down, it's, you know, we're looking for the longevity.
But you're absolutely correct. But you know what? The nature of the human being is the path of least resistance. So what's going to happen is that they're just going to be left open here somewhere.
That would be policing, I guess, of the neighbors
So what
getting on them to
it's like, well,
identify that.
why? You know, you're not allowed that? That's not permitted?
Probably good taste and being a good neighbor, I would think probably is.
Well,
When I
that-
was a child in the Deerfield section, I used to bring my garbage cans up, I don't know, elevation probably 40 feet
Well,
or 200 feet.
Yeah, I do
this
that
was
now.
this was our attempt actually to be a good neighbor.
That's fine.
Any other questions from board members? I just wanted to clarify, you testified that you know, regarding the overage on the accessory use. Does that, the garbage storage count as part of the accessory use
No, it's
calculation?
building coverage.
It's building coverage. Okay, so did that change as well? That changed in the
We're on
calculation?
building coverage.
Okay, you testified that if it were a regular lot size, like you would be in compliance, but I think the calculation's at 11.7.
That's accessory.
Right.
So I explained that, how,
So
if
7 is allowed.
if it was an interior lot and we had the 10%.
Right.
We,
And we're referring to 10%.
the accessory.
Accessory,
coverage is 20% of the rear yard area. That's for an interior lot.
20% of the rear yard
The rear
area.
yard area. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, and so this is at 11.7, so that would be within, if it were a
Total lots,
rear
it's
yard.
based on the total lot.
Because you
area.
can
It's
see.
10%.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Now I'm understanding what you were saying. I wasn't following that, so thank you. And then I had questions about the slopes, but it sounds like we should wait for the engineer. Okay.
I just have a couple of questions more if I could bother you. Let's talk about the changing room, which you said it's not a changing room, but it is on your plans, including elements such as a 17-inch seat with towel storage, a 36-inch counter with base cabinet, hanging hooks. That
Yeah,
is
it's-
part of your plans, that's in
it's-
part of the storage pool equipment on one side and then the changing room on the other.
Yeah, it's not, it has no bearing on, you know, that's not where you're gonna change if you're gonna go to the pool. It's going to be used for pool equipment, you know.
But it
all-
says changing room.
I understand that's prior and it wasn't changed. It was prior to when we took it away and realizing that more area was needed for simple things.
So this is not accurate any longer?
It's just not a
rendering?
changing room. It is accurate, it's just not a changing room.
So it says changing room, but that's not accurate.
Correct.
So there's not gonna be any towel storage or counters?
No.
There are hanging hooks? None of that's gonna be there. How about these little walls that seem to separate the storage?
Nothing. We've actually done a beautiful design down in the basement to act as the cabana.
Do you have a rendering of what it will actually be that you can show us?
Where?
Because, because if it's not this, then we don't have,
Empty.
but it's not this. Does everyone
It's,
understand that?
it
So-
is exactly that, except there's nothing inside.
Okay, so
So
this is not
If I-
accurate.
you know, there's just.
But I
no-
can't hear you. You gotta speak up.
You can't hear?
I can't hear you when.
So it's a room for storage. You know, things, what happens, you know, there's chairs, and put the chairs there in the winter, or.
Oh, I understand it's storage. I'm just wondering if this rendering is not accurate.
Why don't you refer to, instead of Ms. Truitt's, whatever that is.
iPad.
Right, for the benefit of the public, refer to, which sheet are you on, A2?
I am on A2, yeah.
Thank you.
So, right now, previously, there was designated a little area to change in. Realizing that that is just not really, it doesn't mean anything because you don't have a place to use the lavatory or anything like that, that this was just rendered useless. And now it will be separated, pool storage will be here, and this is just storage. So you can store chairs or whatever in there.
So A2 is what we have, what was presented to us, but now you're saying that in reality, it's not going to be exactly like you have it.
Well, the square footage is the same,
Mhm.
and the layout is the same, it's just not a changing room, it's just an empty.
So here's where I'm going with this, intended usage. Because when I saw this, I thought, oh, this looks like a garage with a pool house, with an added area that you're asking the board to approve that could be used for a pool house. Is there any plans in the future to put, or any plans currently, to put a toilet or shower?
No. If, just to be honest with you,
Right.
if I was to do that, it wouldn't look like this. It would have a pergola, it would have a whole lot of other kind of amenities to it. There's no intention at all. It's just that to access the basement and the distance between the existing house
Oh, yeah, I
and
can
everything
see
in the
that.
rear yard, it's, and so if you're going to go ahead and build a 2-car garage, then to make it adequate for your use, for a little bit of storage, the Gesundheitens have children, there's bicycles, they like to play volleyball, there will be nets. It's just, a human everyday life. It is not a changing room. Nobody's going to go all the way out to the rear yard to change when you're coming, the procession is basically the house first. You wouldn't go all the way out to the end of the yard to change, to go to the pool. So that's why underneath here, the stairs go into the basement. There's an existing window there now. We're creating a door, and there's all amenities there to change, and there's a full bathroom and a shower.
So will these walls be here? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm repeating
No,
myself.
the walls, they
So
don't
we don't have
they
a
no longer,
rendering of what
no.
the
But the,
actual will look like inside,
but the
Here's what-
parameter is the same. The parameter is proposed to be the
the
same.
external dimensions are the same, but the internally this is not exactly accurate anymore. There's no pocket door. Is there gonna be a pocket door?
No.
Because then that's on your plans as well.
Right, no, it isn't, it doesn't, it's not necessary. The machine room, will be enclosed, but this is gonna be open. And if you wanted it all open as one room, that's fine as well.
So just curious, quick question for our attorney, if they wanted to add, sorry, Rob, if they wanted to add a toilet or a shower at some point in the future, but not change the external dimensions, would that be permitted? If we granted these variances?
You could certainly, if you were inclined to grant an approval, there could be conditions that would include, if this is where the board wanted to go.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, I'm just trying to see what would they possibly do?
It's not-
What could they do?
It's not a jerk, it's just, there's
Like, could they add?
plenty of
shower?
approvals that have been granted in this state for a detached building that have as a condition that there be no plumbing, no heating, no bathroom, no sink, no shower. That's up to the board.
But if they wanted to add it without getting a variance for that, we just grant it as it is, although we don't know exactly what it is, because what we're approving, we haven't been given a copy of. Exactly. Because she's stating that it's not gonna be this as presented to us. Did you hear that? Am I correct? That's what she stated?
Right, well, the board needs to be comfortable that they see what they're voting on.
Right, so we can't, but
So
could they in the
if
future
there's a
approve this?
representation that, oh, we're gonna change this to this, whatever the subject matter is. Typically, the board would say, well, wait a second, we need to, if it's
Yeah.
material to your approval or denial of the application, that you wanna see.
The only reason it's material to me is future usage. Can you sneak in a toilet and a
Well,
toilet?
there's no condition that prohibits it. And the
That's
answer
my
is
question,
yes.
that's
And as
my-
Rob is saying, if we wanted to put a condition.
Okay, no, but my question
we could
was,
do that.
Rob,
Yeah.
could you add it later?
If it didn't violate what the representations were of the applicant, technically you could.
Okay.
But like I said, typically what boards do for accessory buildings like this, if they are concerned about showers, sinks, other things, they can have a condition. Now, that doesn't mean that it rises to the level of a deed restriction, or they can never do it till the end of time.
Right.
But rather, that if somebody wanted relief from that condition, they can always come back to the board and provide reasons why circumstances have changed or why they otherwise want it.
The reason why that has been not a thought is because that's to put in plumbing and have to season it and weather it. It's when we can have the convenience of right there at the home. And that is the reason why the pool is pulled close to the home as well. It is not, for to access the garage at all. So we have no problem with those restrictions.
I'm still puzzled about that. There's gonna be no plumbing out to the garage?
No,
There's a frost-free hose bill on the door.
There's also the pool plumbing.
Yeah, there's plumbing there already. 'cause
Yeah,
there's-
plumbing there already.
Right,
Drain, water.
That's a little bit different than the piping for a toilet.
Absolutely.
you could add it without too much trouble.
What else? No. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
That's the question.
Chandra, you.
I had three clarifications. A lot of the points have been discussed. The first one is this enclosure that is being created for the garbage disposal cans.
Yes.
If that is taken away, will the side yard setback requirement go away? Is that the only reason for the side yard setback that you have, that you're creating that?
Correct. Correct.
Because I don't like the position of it, just kind of trying to clarify, that's one. Secondly, you are, for lot coverage and building coverage, you're 1.3% and 1.2% over.
Mhm.
If I do the quick math, it comes to about 300 odd square feet
Okay.
over. What thought was given to keep that within limit? Because we are talking about a very large plot, albeit it's lower than what the zoning requirement is for that zone. It's a 300 square feet over on both those coverages. What thought was given to that? That was one of the questions I had. You have covered it, but if you could summarize, that might be helpful. The third was your maximum accessory coverage is, we talked about 1190 square feet over. That would be the other question. I think you kind of talked about a lot of those of what you could bring it down, how you could bring it down, just kind of, asking for your thoughts.
Okay, so the proposed design, it's not a one-time black and white. It evolves over time. And necessity, once you've lived in a home, you realize what you're missing, things like that. So the design is basically a compromise to what the type of amenities the client would like, and trying to hold back, knowing that we're seeking variances. I'm sure you don't recognize me because I'm not up here often. I really try to design and hold my hand so that variances are not required. Unfortunately, this lot, for the neighborhood where these amenities are typical, the lot is undersized. So I'm kind of like penalized from the beginning. I don't know that I'm asking for excessive things. For instance, if the lot was 29,000 square feet, then I wouldn't be asking for any of them. I'd be asking for that side yard setback to enclose the trash.
To Chandra's point though, because I don't think you answered this question. Let's start with lot coverage.
Mhm.
Okay, I asked you earlier about the driveways. Can we go back to the plan that shows the driveways?
Yes.
So
Wait,
basically,
more than this, sir?
yes, the whole, it's like
Probably C2.
right
This
there,
one?
that's good.
Okay.
Yep. Mhm. And you're referring to C2, thanks, Jeff. So on C2, you have now not only the long driveway that leads to the detached garage, but you're also proposing to maintain the oval driveway in the front, correct?
Correct.
Correct, where you're saying that's where people are parking. So according to your narrative, the lot coverage is over by 328 square feet. Given the fact that you're now proposing this long driveway to the detached garage, so that according to your testimony, people would no longer park in that front oval along Stewart Road, has any thought been given to reducing the size of that oval driveway to have the deviation either eliminated or much less than 328 square feet?
So to be honest with you, no.
You have to be honest.
No, because of this area here, the car actually has to do several Ks.
I'm not talking about that.
I
I'm
know,
talking about that.
I understood, I
Correct.
understood. But this area here, the car actually has to do several Ks to exit facing forward. If cars are stacked in the driveway, like, we say it's somebody's birthday, it's a back out condition if this turnaround is no longer here. I'm not sure on this corner, even though it is not a high traffic road, if that's the best condition. So since it's existing, we left it.
How wide is that driveway, the oval driveway? For you to complete that K-turn?
I think it's about 10, no, the K turns back here, sir.
No, I understand, but you're basically
Here?
saying that instead of backing out,
They could,
right?
yes, they could go
Right,
forward.
so my question is,
10 feet? More?
It scales about 15.
so if you reduced that oval driveway width, right, wouldn't you cut off a large portion of that deviation of lot coverage just from that?
If just coming in, bringing these boundaries in was, it would not make turning as graceful, but, it would eliminate coverage, you are right.
So that's one variance. Take the trash enclosure, and you move that somewhere else, where you're not encroaching on a side yard setback, that would eliminate another variance, right?
I don't know, because it would then become a different animal. Once I detach it from the house, it's no longer building. It would be something else.
So if you made it no longer building, does that reduce the deviation on building coverage?
Yes. It's not very much, though.
I'm just trying to help you answer
I understand.
Chandru's questions that he asked you a couple minutes ago.
Do we have any other questions for this witness from board members?
Just one, I'm not sure if this is for you. Has this property ever flooded? I know the house next to you flooded, only because you're on a dog walk.
The house has taken on water, but not as a flood condition, as a condition of an old foundation that needed repair.
I don't know if there's like a little river underneath of there. I know in my neighborhood, there's little brooks and stuff underneath that creates a
I
need for
believe
extra drainage.
something exists way in the back, but it is wet.
In the back, it's wet, only because I know the house next to your structure had like a bunch of water problems for a long time.
On the right or left?
Yeah, on the left, if you're facing the house. But I only know that experientially, so just from walking by, ooh, we get that. Anyway, thanks.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, that gully in the back does have a drain in it,
If there's a drain.
way in the back, before you get to the next property, yeah. Behind the wall that they're putting in, you go in that gully there is a drain in there for something.
And I assume that engineering would look at any modifications to mitigate any potential issues. Question for Eileen. Does this go to engineering?
Oh, this will definitely go to engineering.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Sure, why don't you come up and.
Sorry.
Time.
I'm Jennifer Amorosa. I live next door at 86 Stewart Road in Short Hills.
Hold on a second.
Excuse me.
No, we don't have to swear her in right now. I just want to know, Jennifer, how do you spell your last name?
Amorosa.
When you say 86, I'm sorry, Stewart Road, can you just show the board where your property is in relation to the to the subject property, looking at C2, just so they have some more orientation.
Let's see here.
Excuse me, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, no worries.
Okay, we got- oh, yeah, this is the semicircular driveway, and this is the,
Yes.
yeah, I'm right here.
So, okay, you're next door. Got it. Thank you.
So for now, it's just questions.
Well, I don't know, but questions, there were a couple statements that were made that I
Not yet,
disagree
not
with,
yet.
so I would have the question as far as the drainage that you're speaking of. It works great for two properties, but not mine. I mean, I've been here before. Okay, I don't know what,
So this is the time of the hearing where the chair asks just for questions of this witness. So if
okay,
you have questions, though, there will be a time for
got you,
statements, but right now it's just questions of the architect.
okay. You said that the garage roof is gonna be higher, correct?
Higher than what?
I thought there was a variance asked for the height of the garage. So
It's the-
you can
the
clarify.
The variance is imposed because the grades existing are sloping, which when you take the existing grades at 10-foot intervals and you average them, the height exceeds what is allowed, which is 18 feet. But when we have a retaining wall, it won't.
Well,
You could tell that.
the prior owner, the Wieners, didn't they get approval for their garage?
I assume so.
So then, I don't understand why are you saying that right now it's not in compliance? I don't know.
No, this is just a different applicant.
No, but the garage itself, are you saying that it's out of compliance right now, but you're gonna put it in compliance with the retaining wall? So my question is, then how did it get approved by the Wieners who lived there before him? I don't know.
Is there a garage today?
No.
There's no garage today, so that's.
Well, they put in the footings, you see, they had the footings put in 1 year, and what happens every time they dug, they hit water, okay? They let the foundation sit for an entire year, hoping that it would set, and it didn't. So they had to remove all the footings.
Okay,
And
hold on. There'll be time for you to.
I'm getting out of the scope again.
This is just questions for the
For
witness.
just clarification, they do need a variance for the maximum garage height. So that, they do need a variance for garage height.
Okay. So, all right. You're looking for a variance where it says front facing garage. Oh, because it faces, but it's way in the back.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, and then the side yard setback, okay, that affects me. And why do you need the side yard setback?
We proposed a trash container.
Well, yeah, that I saw in another part here, but is there another reason?
No.
It's just for the trash. Now, you already made application for that, and it was turned down.
No. This is the application.
Okay, there was an initial application for the plans for the house or whatever, and I understand they got approved except for variances. And this was one of the
Are you
variances that was
talking
turned
about
down.
before historic preservation?
Yes,
No,
that's
historic preservation passed the trash.
at the variance, I was my understanding, no variance passed. Why are you asking for it again if you say it passed?
If the historic board
It's
doesn't,
not, yeah.
Different board.
It's two different boards, so the historic preservation is more for the.
This isn't
aesthetic.
historic preservation, this is zoning.
This is zoning, exactly.
Oh, no wonder I got confused what
Yeah.
night it was and all this
Yeah,
other
no,
stuff.
that's fine.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, historic preservation, that application was more about the aesthetics of everything. They're not necessarily, that board isn't taking into account any variances that, that might be.
Okay, I got you. And the lot coverage, you're going over that with what? With the driveway?
it's
And
an
the pool.
accumulation of everything on the.
And
everything.
that's all masonry, right? Is that coverage masonry?
It's impervious, water's not gonna penetrate it, whether it's masonry asphalt, some kind of stone pavers.
So the water doesn't penetrate it,
That is correct.
okay? And then, the building coverage, you're extending that, and I didn't understand where that would come in.
So the building coverage is the garage, and the trash is considered building coverage.
Okay. And accessory coverage, I wasn't clear on that, that's all.
We're asking for a pool and extend the patio.
Okay, and that's more, where water doesn't penetrate.
No, water is actually contained and absorbed by the pool.
Okay, sorry. I narrow my questions, and
Someone's gonna get that.
thanks. And then I'll come back with you.
It's confusing. It's- You did good.
Are there any other questions from the audience?
Do you have any other witnesses?
I do. I have, I believe that the owner would like to speak. I have an engineer and landscape.
It's your application.
How about I'll look? Hi.
I'm up here.
Take the oath.
Did you swear from testimony about to give tonight's proceeding the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Just state your name for the record.
John Gazeneman. Good evening, everybody. So I just want to say a couple of things. I made notes, but not long ones. With respect to the garage, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, my cars right now are parked outside. I have a parade of marauders coming to my house. I could show you videos. On 3 separate occasions, people have gained entry into my house to steal the cars because they're outside. I have a 9-year-old girl and an 11-year-old girl, and I need a garage. It's literally dangerous. People come into my house, okay? So I don't have time to waste on this. I need, I'm sure a lot of you have children, okay? And every summer, there are multiple break-in attempts to my house. I could literally show you a video of someone standing in my dining room that I had to go, and thank God they ran away because, I'm 50 years old. I'm not a fighter anymore these days. So it's very important to me. It's very important to me for the safety of my family. I don't take it lightly. The second thing is with respect to what we were referring to as the storage room next to the pool house. It really is because I have no place to put my lawn stuff. If you want to put a condition in there that I build no bathroom, that I have no shower, I'm more than happy to do that because I have no intention of including those things. The only thing I would ask for is for water so I could wash a car or maybe, throw something in a sink. But there's no intention to build a bathroom. We're adding that to the garage. You want to put that in as a condition, no problem. I'll consent to it as a condition without you guys even asking for it if you want, because I have no such intention. The other thing is, with respect to the trash storage, right now my trash sits, if I can show you guys, my containers sit open against the side of my house right here.
So you're referring for the record to C1, and you're pointing to a particular photograph.
Yes, I am pointing to the photograph with the car right next to the carport. It's the third one on my right in the top row, and the one right next to it, the one at the end. And right, so I put the trash cans right there because that's the only piece of flat land. The only thing that I want to do is build basically a little concrete enclosed structure between these 2 posts so that I could put my trash cans right there so that you can't see them from the street. That's it. That's all that I'm talking about. And on the other side of this, with my neighbor's house, is a generator and 1 window. That's what I'm looking at. And the reason I need to do that is a car will not fit through this carport with those trash cans there. and I have no other flat piece of land where to put them, aside from the front of my house, which I don't want to do because that would be even more unsightly. So really, all I'm trying to do is build one little structure right between these two posts, just big enough to put in 4 trash cans. That's it. And so I could get the car through, so I could put the car under the carport. And the reason I want the car under the carport with all, so first of all, hopefully you'd be less seen by thieves. And second of all, my neighbor has 3 giant pine trees right here, and those pine trees drop branches onto my car. I've already had to have one painted once because of that. I don't want to have to keep doing that. I can't put my car under my carport right now. I can't get it through my carport. I can't put it under my carport. I built one little structure right here, the size of 4 garbage cans, and I could do that. That's all I'm looking for. Okay, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. But for me, like I'm willing to give on the pool. I'm willing to give on the hot tub. And obviously I'll do whatever you guys say because you guys are the board. But at the end of the day, the garage. I need a garage for the safety of my family. I need a car. I need this to be usable so I could get a car through it. Because otherwise, I need a place to put my garbage cans where they're not going to tip over and where they're not in front of the house. It's just unsightly. I'm the only house on the street where you could see the garbage cans from the street. All right.
When you say you're willing to, just for clarification, edification, when you say you're willing to give on the pool and the hot tub, what do you mean by that?
Well, if you guys, if the deal is I have to make the pool a little smaller, I'll make the pool a little smaller. If the deal is I have to move the hot tub into the pool, I'll move the hot tub into the pool. It's not my favorite idea because then I can't use it in the winter. But if that's what this board wants and that's the condition, I will accept that. But I would ask you to, and if you want, like I said, if you want me to, I'll swear a blood oath that I won't put a bathroom in that storage room. No problem. Okay. I just don't want. Right now I have a lawnmower. I have lawn chairs. I don't want them sitting out on the grass. It just doesn't. It doesn't look right. It weathers. It has to be replaced faster. I literally am just looking for a place for storage.
If you put the garage in the back, why wouldn't you put your trash back there?
Well, because that would be about a 30-foot haul of trash. There's and a lot of times there's snow and that's and ice and that's a pretty far haul for trash.
You're familiar with your neighbor across the street, right? One that's up the hill, goes way back.
I am familiar with my neighbor and my.
What does he do for trash? Does he bring it out from the back?
I honestly don't know what they do for trash, but you're talking about 85 Stewart Road.
Yes, they were before us for a couple of closed tabs.
Yes, and by the way,
board members to remember.
if you'd like them to come, they'll come in support of my project because they've seen it. So
If you want to bring any witnesses you want.
So
that's fine.
at the end of the day, it's 4 big trash cans. We have a ton of garbage. What's going to end up happening is things are going to be sitting where they're sitting now, and and it's just going to be because moving it down 40 feet from inside the house and moving it back 40 feet. We have 4 full trash cans every time. That's a long trip. I don't have that garage yet. I don't have a place to put it yet. If I try to move the trash cans into the backyard. Right, I was hoping to do this now so I could get the benefit of the carport so I could build the carport right away, so I could use the carport right away, and then I could do the rest, whenever we get approval and everything else. But without that, I can't do that. I can't use the carport. Pine trees are going to continue to fall on it, and if I put the trash cans anywhere else, they're just going to tip over.
You have an existing carport, right?
I have an existing carport that's unusable because the trash cans are sitting in there and I can't get through it.
Oh, okay.
So if you see these 2 pillars on these 2 pillars. All I want to do is build a little structure right in between them as part of them to put 4 garbage cans in. That's it.
You're putting a door down so that people can access the bathroom in the basement, is that correct?
Yes,
Is there any place you could put the garbage cans by the basement door?
if I put the garbage cans by the basement door, then I'd have to carry them upstairs every time. There is no place to put them.
But there's no way to access
There's no
that
way to access
driveway
it.
from your basement?
All right, unless you guys have any
Any
questions.
other questions from board members? Any questions from the audience?
I think the engineer still wants to
Well,
speak.
We need to.
Oh, for me,
get everyone-
okay, sure,
yeah.
of course.
For the applicant?
That's comment, not question.
Okay, nope, then we're good. Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from testimony about to give in tonight's proceeding be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Your name for the record, spelling
My
your
name is Mark Gimigliano, spelled Gimigliano. And for the board, I'm a professional engineer licensed in New York, New Jersey. I've earned a degree in civil engineering from the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Been working as an engineer for almost 30 years, licensed since 2008. Testified in front of numerous planning and zoning boards, including this one on one other occasion. My licenses are current.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Thank you. And so my job on this project was to make sure that the improvements that were proposed are properly graded and drained. And I would describe the backyard area as moderately to somewhat steeply sloping. There are steep slopes in the backyard. They're at the perimeter of the backyard, but there's not going to be a disturbance of more than 1,000 square feet of steep slopes. So for that reason, we do not request the steep slope disturbance variance. The property right now has 2,000-gallon dry wells in the backyard, and the roof leaders from the home are connected to those dry wells. The dry wells are shown on the plan roughly with an oval right here, which would be in the location of the back of the pool. If you can see those. What we're proposing is to move those dry wells so that we can construct the improvements, and then we'll add additional dry wells which will cover the additional improvements.
So you're taking the 2,000-gallon dry wells that are on your grading plan. Those are currently located where the pool is?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said you're gonna add more dry wells to cover the additional building and lot coverage,
That's correct.
including the deviations regarding building coverage, lot coverage, and accessory structure coverage.
Yeah, all the new coverage that's proposed will be collected by drains. The driveway will slope back down the slope to the garage. The garage will be, there'll be a retaining wall behind and next to the garage to raise that grade. And then the roof leaders from the garage will be connected to the dry wells. There's a drain proposed in the driveway, so all of the driveway water will be collected. There's curving around the driveway, so it'll all get into the drain. We also proposed drains around the improvements and have graded everything so water from the patios will go to those drains. Then in the end, there'll be 4,000-gallon dry wells instead of 2, and there'll be less area that'll be conveying water to the neighboring properties behind us. So it will be an improvement over what's out there today.
Go to the base elevation of the dry well again. Just trying to get an idea what the lowest elevation of the gully in the back is.
Yeah, the bottom of the dry well is at about 180 in the backyard. The back part of the backyard is about that same elevation.
Have you guys done any type of soil testing, determine groundwater table, anything like that?
No, we haven't done any soil testing. Based on the soil survey, the soils are expected to be permeable and there should be enough distance from groundwater to the bottom of the infiltration area. Typically, what we do with grading plans, or most plans in Millburn, is we will design everything and then we'll do soil testing once they have machines out on site. And if groundwater is higher than expected, then we'll redesign the system. There are other infiltration structures that we can install that are a little shallower. There's been many projects where we've had to adjust the design once they're under construction to avoid any groundwater impacts.
Do you know the approximate age of the existing dry wells?
I don't know when they were put in, but there was some work done on the house to alleviate some drainage concerns, and that's when they uncovered the dry wells and they connected all and made sure all the drains were connected to those dry wells. The dry wells at the time, my understanding is they were in good condition. And when we're going to take them out of the ground and replace them if they do need to be replaced, then new dry wells would replace anything that's damaged or that's not functional.
Any other questions?
So are you aware of any underground water sources that you're not anticipating? I know there was some testimony about, some comments, and there was some testimony about water in that area on that property.
I'm not aware of any issues back there, but certainly if the project moves forward, we would do soil testing in that area to make sure that there's nothing that would impact the functioning of the dry wells. The other thing is that I could say is that there are the steep slopes on the back of the property are located really behind where the dry wells are located now. And so by moving the dry wells over a little bit to the, I guess it's to the north, we'll get it away from that steep slope, and that would be improvement as well. You really don't want to infiltrate stormwater above a steep slope because it can bleed out of the slope. So by moving it over, getting everything a little bit lower, will avoid any impacts, if there are any, from those existing dry wells.
Is there anything about the grading or the slope in the rear of the property that prevents you from constructing or moving the proposed trash recycle storage enclosure area to the rear and then constructing a path that could bring the trash cans and the recycling cans to the front of the property?
Well, the slopes are
Just because there's a variance is being asked for.
right.
And try to see if there's ways we can reduce or eliminate variances.
Well, I would say the slopes are they're steep. They're not steep slopes as defined by the ordinance. But for example, the driveway will be constructed pretty much to follow the grades, and it's at about 13%. An ADA accessible ramp is at 8%. So this is steeper than what typical walkway that you would see. So one thing I could say is that walking these cans, 4 heavy cans up and down the driveway, it's a longer driveway and it's also a steeper driveway. So could be considered a hardship.
Any questions from the audience, witness?
What is the length of the driveway from, just the total length of the driveway to the street from the garage?
From the garage to the,
Proposed garage.
from the carport to the garage?
From the proposed garage to the street,
From the garage to, I'm sorry, to where?
to Stewart Road.
Oh, to Stewart Road, okay. It'll be about 160 feet.
From the door of the garage to Stewart Road, 160 feet.
Yes.
Thank you. You made a noise. Did you have a question?
So this structure for the garage disposal cans, could that be created on the other side of the property? So right now we're talking about the right side on the closer to the property.
The trash enclosure?
Yes.
My understanding is that it will be facing the home so that they can exit the home and the trash can be kept in this enclosure. So any of the doors, and from what I see on the architectural plans, any of the doors, the way you get the trash cans in and out would be underneath the carport. And I think the door, I think it's from the kitchen, is located right in that area. So that's the convenient place to bring the garbage in and out.
Looks like the kitchen's in the center of the house. Am I wrong about that? Looks like the kitchen's in the center.
Connected by a breezeway.
It's the mudroom pantry door, and the kitchen's right on the other side of it.
you have any other witnesses?
Well, let's open it up for questions for Mr. Jim.
Oh, I did already.
You did?
Yeah.
There's no questions?
There were no questions, yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah, no, no.
does the applicant have any other witnesses?
I do not think.
Um,
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so now I'd like to take statements from the audience.
May I go back up if he says,
Yeah, please.
we've looked at your suggestion. And so if the inside is pulled back a little bit in here,
Okay, wait, just so the record's clear, you're talking right now about the oval driveway in front of the house
correct,
based on C2. Go ahead.
right? So if it is as, the 15 feet, if we pulled it in to be the 10 foot, which is adequate, and we recoup 5 feet around the interior and can increase this portion here. And I could remove this back, this, walk. It's really to clean the pool, but I could stand on the grass. So maybe this type of calculation will bring it in.
I thought the pool is accessory and the driveway is lot coverage.
It is,
So-
but this coverage is pavers, so, some type of paving material, whether it's bluestone or whatever.
So you're not talking about taking length off the pool, you're
No,
talking about the
no.
surrounding, which is lot coverage. So have you done the calculation for
No,
what your?
I mean, I can try to do it, but this is just a small scale and I'm just sort of trying to, work with the board.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna open it up to members of the public, if anyone would like to make any comments. Sure.
Now you have to be sworn in.
Excuse me?
You have to be sworn if you would just
Oh,
raise your
sure.
hand. Do you swear from testimony you're about to give in the proceeding, the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Yes, say yes.
Yes,
And
I'm sorry.
your name and address for the record.
Jennifer Amorosa, 86 Stewart Road, Short Hills, New Jersey.
Thank you.
All right, now I can get started. I don't know where to start, but I guess I could start with simple things with these garbage cans. I have water issues on my property. And and this has nothing to do with John, but when the Wieners redid their house, they raised the property. I don't think they got approval, but they raised it because we have rhododendrons between our properties that are sort of mixed in with the pine trees and that used to be their area, like their patio, where they'd come out their kitchen and they'd sit there, barbecue, that would be their patio. And it was even with the rhododendrons. It was all even. But after the house was reconstructed, it's now up higher. So water comes down on my property. And I've tried to have dig a ditch so that when the water goes over, it'll go down and then get to the fence by the backyard and go all the way down to the back. But what happens is if he goes, the garbage can, I don't know what to call it. It would interfere with that line of drainage, if you know what I mean. I mean, it doesn't give me a lot, but it's something. And then I have issue with, of course, the Wieners, when they finish the construction. You know, when you have construction, there's a black, sort of like plastic fencing that people put up for protection. Well, I asked John when he first moved in if he would remove that because it's really more on his property. And it's underneath, it keeps going underneath the dirt. So it's sort of a blockade, all right, that when the water comes down, sorry to explain, there's a drain in the back of the house that's, I would say, where, what's that, the number of the house to the right of you? That has a pool in the back? What is it? 100, yeah, so there's 100 of that property where they had and they had drainage here, and then there's 88, and then there's me. And I missed going into that drain, and I don't know, she's still the engineer, Martha? Okay, I asked her to come. She thought it was fine that it was going in there, but I disagree because the water, when it really rains or the snow melts, I get water that goes up half of my wooden fence.
You need to focus on this application.
Okay, well,
issue
this is the
this
issue
application.
with a lot of these variances is that they have an effect on the water. All right, and I get it from all sides. And so I'm trying to see here, is this the back, the driveway? What happened to the driveway? I mean, why right behind the house? Why can't you put the cans there?
They'll tip over.
Excuse me?
They'll tip over.
Why? Right behind the house.
Yeah, they'll fall over.
Why isn't it flat?
Wait, no. This is an opportunity for the public to make statements to the board.
Oh,
It's
okay,
not a time to question the applicant.
okay. All right. So anyway, I'm against that variance of putting the garbage cans, you know, on my part of my property. Because it would, well, it's on my property and it shouldn't be, and it's proposed to be on my property and shouldn't be. And it also would interfere with the flow of water that goes down between our two houses. And I already have a problem with that. And then I can't talk, I've talked to the board. We had an issue with this past summer about the sprinklers. One of his sprinklers was broken and it ran all on my side. You can't imagine how flooded my front yard was, just from a few sprinklers. I'm trying to convey that I have a major water problem on my property. And every time somebody does something, it makes it worse. Just like the 100 store, when they put that pool in, now that would be in line with 88's property, okay? It's lower, but they kept digging. Every time they dug, they hit water until they finally put it in the end of the property where it was a little higher. Well, where the garage is, still think there's the footings on 88's garage. I explained, I think, earlier when I wasn't supposed to be making a comment that there's water there. When you dig, you hit water. That backyard, my backyard, beyond, used to be all trees, and that was a pond. And it used to be protected by the Environmental Association. But every time somebody makes an application to dig there, they say, go ahead. And that's what's been going on. So when you dig, they're going to hit water.
Okay, so you've done a really good job of stating to the board your water concerns, and I'm guessing then you're not in favor of the variances for excessive building and lot coverage. Is that
Correct. And
accurate?
then that's all masonry. Where's that gonna go?
So beyond the water issues that you've done a good job of describing, do you have any other issues or comments you want to make to the board regarding this application?
Well, when those, what do you call them, dry wells, where they collect the water, when they get full, where do they go? Now, I know there was one put underneath the semicircular driveway. All right, and it looks like by the road, it doesn't come out when it rains, but if that dry well overflowed or got full, the water would go out on the street, okay? Now, I have only the experience with this house across the street. I don't know if anyone's familiar with 89 Stewart. They had a major dry well in their backyard, and it kept overflowing, and the grate for it was right by the beginning of their driveway, and it kept going on the street and freezing.
Okay,
So things are being done, but who's making sure that the things are being done the right way?
So you're concerned also about the adequacy of the stormwater management system that is being proposed. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, because I'm looking at the intrusion of an additional water, like in the sprinklers, they flooded the front of my house, but they also went in the back road. There's all erosion because water comes from 88 Stewart down on mine, and it goes in the back, and it just has over the years eroded. I've been there almost 35 years. So,
Is there anything else about the application that we want to bring to the board's attention?
all right, with I'm gonna do with that paper. Well, I think that was the thing, the coverage, because the coverage is being, it's not where water will,
We
Sink
talked-
in,
We
right?
understand
Right.
it's the water issues and the excessive coverage impacts on those water issues that are
right,
concerns.
and the location of the proposed garbage thing would be
and the
right
garbage
where
location.
my water, little stream goes down.
Understood.
And I think, yeah, basically you got it, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I explained myself right, but
Can I ask a quick question? When you talked about the former owners and the foundations that they put in for the garage.
Yeah.
Just for the board's edification, we're looking at C2, where was that?
well, in the back where
In the back where they're proposing the current garage?
right, there used to be, I don't know if there's still, 4 pillars, where they initially built the foundation for the garage, and they had those footings. They let it sit for the
Okay, no,
entire year.
I just wanted to, so the board understood where on the
They're still
property
there,
you're
I
referring.
think, right?
Okay, okay, you'll get a chance, hold on.
Yeah, I think they're still there. But they had to put the ones in, like when, if you're putting a dock in and you're building something in the water.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and then another thing, the other plan, I guess it's still a brick wall instead of a fence. Now, the question is, I don't know how close the brick wall is going, but is that gonna also interfere with the water draining down the hill? So, you know, okay.
Thank you.
I just want to mention one thing. You were talking about with the proposed trash can location that they're putting it on your property. I just want to make sure you understand they're not proposing to put it on your property. It's going to still be on their property, just closer to your property.
Oh, without the setback.
Than what's permitted, you
Okay,
know, by, in the ordinance.
okay, but I don't,
Yeah, no,
I
that's fine. I
can't
just
tell
wanted
if
to-
how much it'll be supported, if it's only a little space where the water goes down
Yeah,
behind my fence and then goes down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And, anyway, just, some of the problems are not John's problems, they've been problems that have accumulated over the years from other properties too.
thank you. Oh, yeah. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to make a statement? Architect?
Yes.
So do you want to?
I came up,
Yeah.
so if we decreased the front here, if we pulled it into the 10 feet and cut the splay, softened this edge, and took away the back, it comes to 370 square feet. So that would eliminate coverage,
Lot coverage.
lot coverage.
So you would not need the lot coverage variance anymore?
Correct.
And that's what you're proposing at this point?
Yes, they have to go through, of course.
Does that do anything to the building coverage? Because that's also up by 1.2%. Any of these changes, do they also impact building coverage?
Those changes are for lot coverage.
Okay.
Just so I'm clear, reducing the semicircular driveway reduces your lot coverage by 370 square feet. Is that correct?
To pull it into 10-foot wide
Mhm.
versus its existing width.
Well, plus the other,
And yes, and the rear, there's a walk in the back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
The garage for the Wieners was not located in the same area. It was located on the opposite side of the property.
Wasn't it located more?
can you refer to C2, identify for the board where it was?
It was located over there.
Yes.
Can you show us on C2?
Yes. The Wieners proposed the garage over here.
Are those footings still in place?
I didn't dig under the ground, but I do know that, I think there was some kind of pond issue.
They stick up. They did, anyway. John.
So they're
No, there's
over,
not.
they're over where the new dry wells are gonna be.
Yes,
But that's where the wing is supposed to go.
yes.
So you'll
they're
find,
the same driveway looping all the way down, or they could come from the other side?
Before the renovations, their driveway came in here and they parked underneath the house.
Okay.
That was their, that's existing condition was that they parked underneath this house. And I believe that the garage was set back here to, not to have front facing garage. And all of this was just going to, they were gonna pull around back.
I know, stop the line. Ask her a
the-
question or?
The driveway, just so you have some reassurance, the driveway and the drainage that is going to be put in will actually help all water runoff. This is sloped to a large drainage system, and this is all curved. So water will not go on your property unless there's like some kind of, like where I live, it floods down at 2 feet. I don't believe that happens up here because it's the water coming from the reservation, so.
The garage, it's on the, oh my gosh, but south. It's on the south side of the property.
But regardless, we will
No.
take care of all water runoff and provide adequate planting and grass areas for water absorption. And I mean, this isn't just a slight project. It's a good sized project and it will all be taken care of.
What about the applicant's offer to reduce size of the pool, relocate the hot tub, whether there's any thought given to reducing the size of the detached garage area, given the elimination of the changing area, et cetera. The reason why I'm asking all these questions is that the board needs to understand fully what it's being asked to vote on. So, and I don't.
That's not
Also,
building
they might
coverage.
wanna listen to our comments first and then maybe get, make a decision about what they're actually proposing. So right now, if we were to close the public portion, what we're considering is that you are getting rid of the lot coverage variance by way of reducing the driveway coverage from what you.
Yes, and I'm
told us.
I'm truly asking you to take into consideration that, this land has serious hardships to it. So, because the land has serious hardships, they shouldn't be imposed on an owner for their lifestyle or developing their lifestyle. And that's what variances are for. We really tried to present, and I don't believe I didn't come in with like huge numbers, and I hope you will consider that. I mean, it's not just one, it's multiple.
Good question also about the fence variance. Did we establish they need another variance?
We need to discuss that. That was not brought forward. I don't have the documents that are the denial.
Well, right, I mean, the applicant, when they submitted their notice, I believe they included a catch-all provision for any and all other variances and waivers. We haven't heard, to Ms. Davitt's point, we haven't heard any testimony as to what the fence variance is, what it consists of, height, linear length, distance from side lines, so.
I have a question regarding drainage on the proposed garbage extension of the portico. What would the drainage be? Will there be gutters to catch that drainage off the side, or it would just go off the side onto the neighbors? I guess that's
Or
the
onto the driveway, it could be sloped forwards onto the driveway and will flow down to the,
How is it proposed now? I just don't recall the sloping. Oh, okay, so we'll go forward with that. Okay, so it's not proposed to have a slope down
no,
towards the
it's just a flat
neighbor's
ledge
property.
because it is covered. It is covered by the
Right.
eave of the portico.
Okay.
So it's not gonna receive, it's not necessary to provide any drainage.
That's fine, I just wanted to make sure that they heard that, so it's not sloped towards, it's rather sloped front and backwards. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Actually helps.
So fence is the only additional variance that they'd be requiring is front yard, is front yard fence, right? The fence isn't causing any setback issues
No, it's
or
just in the front
anything.
yard.
It's just they need a
Unless
front
they pull
yard
it back.
fence because it's on a
Unless they
corner.
pull it back.
So they have two front yards.
But there's
You know
no
anything about the height?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that one of
There's
the
nothing
hooks,
provided.
where, exactly where it's gonna be placed? Yeah, none of us do, and, yeah.
Yeah.
May I address the fence? So the fence, the way the Historic Society wanted the
No,
fence,
I
and
think we're gonna hang on one second and just take some advice from our attorney.
So,
It's actually 9. It's 10, that's an hour behind. They didn't, it's not even 10 seconds.
It's so confusing.
I was about to say that we were, no, I know how I look, but I figured it out. That we've been hearing the board has been hearing the application for almost 2 hours now, and there have been a number of questions, I think, that have been asked, good questions from the various board members, some members of the public, that have gone unanswered. And part of the struggle always is to, as you probably gleaned from some of my questions, is for the board to fully understand the nature and extent of the relief that they're being asked to vote on. So it's one thing to, do some calculations to eliminate a lot coverage variance, which is great. It's one of the things, one of the variances that you needed. But, and it's up to the board, I just give advice, as to whether the board feels that it has, based on the presentation so far, enough information to, thoughtfully consider the application, or whether the board feels that they need some additional information, additional clarification, or maybe, asking for the applicant to maybe reconsider certain aspects of the application. That's up to them.
I agree with that. I think it would be helpful though, if the applicant could hear some of our concerns or comments.
Right, so we
Yeah.
don't, the board doesn't need to necessarily close the public portion and go into deliberation, because there's always a question, once you deliberate, do you really reopen, et cetera. So I think, to the chair's point, for the benefit of the applicant, I'm assuming that the applicant would want to hear some of the comments from the board to understand where their mindset is at this point regarding this application.
Of course.
Would someone like to start?
I'll start.
There's no motion, there's no vote,
Yeah,
we're just
yep,
giving comments.
Yep, just chatting.
Just,
Go for it.
just,
I'll start. I think I'm on base with Sean Drew. When I looked at this application initially, I thought maybe there were like 3 that could have been knocked out just by design. I thought maybe the front-facing garage they need and the garage height I could go with. As far as the setback, me personally, I don't see why. I can see why they would have it to the side, because it's very, very convenient, but that's not what we're not here to bend over backwards for the town to make convenient for everybody. If they're gonna put the garage in, there's ample space to put in my opinion, a place for the garage bins where this extra cabana aspect would be. So as far as the side yard setback, I don't agree that that's necessary. As far as the coverage and the lot coverage, that again could have been redesigned, which is what they've already done as far as lot coverage. As far as front-facing garage, I think that's, again, the applicant did a good job explaining that. He's gonna put a fence in the front, an automatic gate. That makes a lot of sense, and we wanna make sure that he's protected, his family's protected. As far as the height, the architect did a nice job saying that just how the slope drops, it's not gonna be a complete, big thing. Those are my comments.
Yeah, I agree with those comments 100%. I don't have any problem with the garage. I think it's important to have, and, but I think there could be more thought given to how you could come more into compliance. I do agree with the architect's comments to the effect that obviously this is a different sort of lot size. And I do think we should take that into consideration. But that doesn't mean you get everything you want. It means you have to make an effort to try and reduce the size of the variances as much as possible. And I think that while I do think the plans are really well done, I think more work could be done to try and get these variances reduced. And I think if they were able to do that, I would feel better about the application.
I'm very close to where Gary is on that. I think that they've dealt with the garage height issue. Walk the property, I look down there, you're gonna barely see this from the street. I think aesthetically, they've done a lot of really good things here. The drawings at least look right, look like it always was there. I'm less troubled by the bin, the garbage bin issue and the side setback there than some of the other members are. And I'm more sympathetic to going all the way down to that garage and coming all the way back, despite your youth.
Is that on the record, Eric?
I like what they've done with the lot coverage. I'm still troubled by the fact that the accessory use is still very large, very far over the permitted, and the applicant has already stated a willingness to shave the pool down a bit. I feel like that someone called it a cabana, but the extra storage, the size of the garage proper, I think is, someone pointed out, it's now almost a regulation, but that's a very good size for the garage. I'm a little troubled more by the wing off of it.
I'm pretty much where you are on that. Hearing about the safety issues that happened, it's hard hearing that our neighbors and our people in our town have been broken into. So I definitely see the need, understand the rationale for the design and supportive of that. Yeah, but I think if some of those accessory uses, if there's a way to just tuck them in just a little bit to get it closer to what is permitted, I think that would be a really strong application.
Yeah, I agree as well. I brought up the accessory coverage issue pretty early on. Understanding that this is a undersized lot, my colleagues are right that you can't use that as then your excuse to be able to kind of build as much over as you want. And I think asking for over 1,000 square feet of accessory coverage over what's permitted by the ordinance is just too big an ask. I think also I think that given that there is a request for a front yard fence, I think that it would benefit the board to just have some more details about the fence too, as long as you're coming back before us.
I'll go next to last. I agree with my colleagues and all of your comments already made. By the way, beautiful home, and I love your handwriting. Your application was so easy to read. Just a side note. I have no problem with the garage. I completely understand, and I consider that a necessity in the Northeast. And I'm very sensitive, and I'm sorry to hear about your break-ins. That's hard to hear. And I'm sorry about that. I have no problem with your front-facing garage. I'm a little concerned about the lot coverage. And as your neighbor so eloquently stated, variances affect neighbors, and I'm sensitive to hearing that. I know there's water, just from my personal experience talking in the neighborhood, and what your neighbor to the left of you had so many problems. We watched that for a couple of years. So I'm aware that there's issues in that neighborhood just from my own experience living in the area. The proposed garbage area, I can see the convenience. I understand that it's 160 feet, you stated, from the garage to store. That's really long. I'm wondering if you could go back and scratch your heads and look if there's another place, perhaps off the proposed, I think that's like part of the kitchen, it's in yellow. If you could build a flat area there that would be just a little bit further and you could still access the driveway, just something to think about. That would take care of that side setback variance and make your neighbor happy, which would make me happy. If you can look at the hot tub and the pool and see what you can live with and what you can't, I understand that you're going to the trouble and expense of making your lifestyle improved, and I don't fault you for that. See if there's some way you could get some of your coverages down that affect your neighbor in terms of water. And if not, in reality, at least perceptually. But it's a beautiful property, and I can understand why you want to make it even better for your lifestyle.
I'll concur with all the comments very quickly. Good effort on the lot coverage. I think if you can you've already eliminated that, that's great. If you could also work on the side yard setback and the building coverage, as well as the maximum accessory coverage, that would be helpful to the extent you can. I think that.
So I guess we need a date, right?
Yeah, what do they want?
What they want.
Well,
What do they want us to vote?
I don't think
Do they want us?
Do they want us to
have
vote?
enough information to.
Enough information.
Oh, yeah, fence.
Yeah, but, do we take it that the applicant at this time asked for the matter to be carried, right? And so that you can take into consideration one way or another the comments from the board members.
Correct. Thank you.
Yes.
So Eileen,
Come on.
so the-
Well, I don't know how much time you'll need to do whatever it is you're gonna do. As far as,
Well, I will make this applicant a priority.
If we're getting, I mean, obviously, we're not voting today. And so I would just ask if you're gonna push us, just push us into after Passover. I'm gonna be on trial. I myself am an attorney. I'm going on trial for a couple of weeks. And then we're going away for Passover. So I would just ask to push us to after the Passover.
well,
The
our only meeting left here is April
Yeah.
7th.
well, so no, so let me explain to not only the applicant, but to the public as well. So for real estate reasons, this board is going to be hearing applications, not in the municipal building here, but in another location starting in April, late April. So what that means for jurisdictional reasons is that while we normally just carry an application with no further notice to a particular date in the future, same location, because we don't know precisely what the new dates are going to be, because my understanding is we're waiting to hear from the Board of Education where we believe that the meetings are going to be as to the availability of their meeting room. It's become a struggle to adequately continue jurisdiction for an application by providing a vocal notice at the end of a meeting as to the new date, time, and location. My suggestion is that we carry it to a particular date, whether you're on trial or you're away for Passover, just for scheduling purposes, so that this way, the goal is for not only this application, but for other applicants who may end up being carried, that they don't have to physically do the renoticing with the certified mails, and this would save money, time, energy.
I take all advice from the board.
Okay, well said.
We could carry it to the April 7th meeting, at which time we will have our new dates, hopefully. And then we can carry it to date certain, which would probably be, well, potentially April 28th, well, you said till after Passover.
What, the first one's April 7th?
That's just rescheduling.
Wait, I thought you said 17th, I'm sorry.
No,
Did I miss
No,
it?
April 7th is just rescheduling.
Okay.
But they don't need to show
You
us.
don't need to
on
be
the
here.
No, you wouldn't need to show up,
I am,
just for purposes, we would just announce at that April 7th meeting when the new meeting date is.
April 28th is after.
April
Yeah.
7th is
Yeah.
after Passover.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, potentially we could carry it to April 28th.
Do we have confirmation that that's,
Not yet.
yeah,
I
so,
should be getting that.
okay, my recommendation to the board is that even if we end up having a cattle call of cases to call that night,
Right.
that we carry it for jurisdictional purposes to the board's meeting of April 7th, right, Eileen? It's at 7 PM. That will be for scheduling purposes only. So this application will not be heard on April 7th, but at the April 7th date, there will be an announcement as to when the hearing date will be, including the time and location.
No question. If you have another meeting, I don't have to come back again and just give you my position again.
No, your
I'm done.
Your testimony is part of the record, but should the applicant revise its plans, those plans will be on file at the board's offices, and you would have the right to come back and take a look at those plans as revised.
Will the revised ones be on the internet as well? If you have access to the internet or
Above
citizens,
my pay grade.
residents?
Yeah, if I get them digitally, I'll.
Residents. So residents can look at it online, easier than.
We don't have it would depend on what date we're scheduling.
Let's say it was the
What
28th.
date it have to be at least by 18. And we're not open, well, we're closed to public on the 16th or the 18th.
Yeah, then it's the 10th.
Okay? Anyone have any questions?
no, the only thing I would say is I will compromise on absolutely everything. The only thing I would ask is, I know I signed a consent. If you guys come and allowing you guys to come to my property, and I believe you were there, so thank you. Thank you. You all, but if you guys come and you look at like where we're planning to put this, the setback for the garbage cans, I really do not think you will have an issue with it. I would really ask you to do that. And that's my only thing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So this application is being carried April 7, 2025, 7 PM in this room for scheduling purposes. though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Sure, we're gonna take a.
I can give you,
Okay.
you're younger
Where
than
was
me.
Zoe?
Although I am.
Yes.
Okay, so next up, we have calendar 4024. The application is for 14 Bailey Road. The applicant is Lish.
Yes.
If you both just raise your right hand. Do you swear from testimony you're about to give in tonight's proceeding, truth, whole truth, and the truth?
I do.
Your name's for the record.
Daniel Dubenet.
I do. Simon Lish.
Thank you. I want to say a quick,
My name's Simon. My wife couldn't be here tonight. Her name's Alana. She's watching our two boys at home tonight. Just want to say thank you for hearing our request. We love our location. I commute to Manhattan every day. I walk to the Maplewood train station from our home. We love our location. She works from home every day. We are proposing a couple of small changes to make to facilitate our lifestyle, and just small things that we think you'll find very reasonable. We think they're reasonable. A lot of time and effort went into it.
thank you.
And I'll let Damien tour guide.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we are in the R6 zone, we're 14.
Wait, I need.
I apologize. Too fast. So,
Yeah.
let's try.
Do you want to give us your?
Oh, yes,
qualifications?
thank you. License is still good and current. I practice primarily residential architecture. I've been before this board before. It's been a little while, but license 2001. So I've been practicing for over 20 years.
Thank you.
Okay, so R6 zone, 14 Bailey Road. So I'd like to start out by just showing you some Google imagery, just to give you, because I think one of the things that makes this property unique is its location, and its location to the playground and this playfield. So we don't have neighbors in the rear, and
So Dan, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Please.
that's,
So is what you're showing us in terms of an aerial, has that been submitted to the board? It is not. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark that as A1. And we're gonna call it aerial of the neighborhood. How's
plus some photographs of the
You tell
existing.
me, well,
Yes.
what is this, why don't we do this? Why don't we have aerial of the neighborhood as A1?
Okay, yeah.
Okay? And wait, hold on a second, let's go back. And what's the date of this aerial from Google Earth?
Well, I took it off today, but I don't know the date of the imagery.
Is there a date on it now?
No.
Okay. We'll use today's date just for a placeholder. So did you, okay, go ahead.
And so that would be A1, and I also have a printed copy.
No good on the table, right? Mr. Simon, great name, by the way.
Thank you. So because you're now telling me that you've spent all this money and time with these handouts that are stapled.
Didn't know this would work. and it
That
didn't work,
what
so-
we're gonna do is pull an audible,
Okay.
and we're gonna have A1 as a 2-pager. Page 1 is the aerial of the neighborhood, and page 2 is a series of 5 photographs.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay.
It's the same, and then included in my presentation would be the drawings that everybody has, A1 through A4. So, if I may, I'd like to quickly show you what the improvements would be to this home. What we're asking or what we're seeking is to add a 1-story mudroom to the first floor. Currently, there is no mudroom to the home. So the pink area down below is a mudroom, and what the mudroom consists of would be a closet, cubbies, and a small half bath. And that obviously would be fantastic for them to enter and exit the house. Currently, they just walk into this. There's a door right here, and shoes and coats and everything. So a great spot to increase the house. That's about 97 square feet that we're adding. The second part of this project is maybe twofold, which is they have an existing roof line that we would like to get access to so we can put some additional offices and a bedroom up there, which does not count as FAR because it's going to be below 6'10" in height, but we need to get up there. So we're proposing a staircase on the second floor, which causes me to maybe reconfigure the second floor a little bit. But as a result of that reconfiguring, we'll get a staircase up to the attic. We'll get a laundry room, a very small laundry room closet. And then I get to increase, ideally, their primary bedroom, which is currently 13 feet. We'd like to go to 16 feet and add a new bathroom and a walk-in closet. So the new space that we're adding is about 192 square feet on the second floor, which is above the existing family room that exists. And there'll still be two portions of the first floor that we will not build on top of, which is towards the back, which is about 3'4", and on top of part of the mudroom, we propose not to build on top of, mostly because of the aesthetics and to try to be more sensitive to, of course, the ask. There are 6 variances associated with this application. All 6 variances are existing non-conforming, so we're not introducing anything new. And as a result of this application, 2 existing nonconformities went away. We were able to give back, and certainly if I needed to include it, but we're able to give back what they call accessory setbacks. So the patio was currently too close to the property line. We're going to propose a new patio and make it conform, and make the patio smaller so we get rid of what they call accessory use coverage. So although it's not in front of you today, we did eliminate 2 existing nonconformities. Now the other 6 are all existing nonconformities, and they have to do, the first 2 have to do with the width of the property being 50 feet. And so currently the existing house on the right side is 6 feet, and we're going to stay 6 feet. And the reason it triggers the variance for this, it's basically to create a dormer on the roof to get the staircase to work. So if I may show you some imagery of that. This is the side of the house. So I need to create this shed dormer to actually get headroom to make the staircase work. And that dormer triggers this side yard setback and side to height setback. So requirement is 8 feet, existing 6 feet, proposed is 6 feet. So it's a 2-foot violation to the side yard setback. And similarly, because of the height to the peak, that triggers what they call additional side yard setback. So based on that existing height that doesn't change, you would actually need a 12-foot side yard setback. So it's a 6-foot variance for the 2 side yard setbacks as a result of asking for the dormer. So those are the first 2 variances. Then there were 2 variances that we still need, but we made better. So the first one's lot coverage. And I could just rattle out the numbers, but lot coverage was 53.3%. And as a result of reducing the patio and some other items on the property, we were able to get it down 110 square feet of reduction in lot coverage, but we still need it. The proposed would be 51.6%. Where the maximum allowed is 45. But again, as a result of this application, we're making lot coverage better. And the second one that's similar, but maybe not as significant, is something called rear yard unoccupied. So it's basically a function of the percentage of your lot. So they ask for 25% of your lot size be unoccupied in the backyard. So currently, we only had 1,513 square feet open. And by reducing the patio and reducing its size and some other lot coverage issues, we were able to make that rear yard unoccupied better, again, by the 110 square feet. That's a very small variance. We're only, couldn't get it down any further, but we're only 35 square feet over what's allowed. It's a 0.6% 0.6% violation. So those are the kind of easier ones to talk about. The last two is building coverage and FAR. Building coverage is existing conforming. So by adding the mudroom component at 97 square feet, we have to obviously go up in the building coverage. And the numbers are as follows. So basically, we're adding 97 square feet to the project, but it brings our total number over by 226 square feet. The numbers are, the proposed is 26.4% and required is 23. So it's a 3.4% over what's allowed. And I did, I don't know if the board still likes to look at the deviation, but that was a 14.8% deviation from what's the maximum allowed. And again, it's one story for the mudroom to work for the building coverage. FAR, little different story. Again, existing non-conforming out of the gate. So 36% is required. Existing was 38.5, so we are already over. So anything that we want to do to the home would trigger the variance. We are adding the increase to the second floor and the mudroom, which brings us to, we're adding 289 square feet of new FAR. And that coupled with what's already over, the total amount over is 458, which turns out to, the percentages is 42.9%. And again, it's looking at deviation, it was a 19.2% deviation from what's allowable. But what makes this a little bit unique is we have a big garage in the backyard. It's a 2-car garage. It's actually 20 by 18. That's, according to the ordinance, included in our FAR. So if you took that away from our livable space, that's 369 square feet. It would be significantly less. Really quickly, I think we'd be at 37%. Yes. And then I guess to support our application is a couple things, and I'll show you some photographs of the
I
site.
think it would be helpful to the board if you can show the improvement in the attic that is not included in your calculation of FAR.
Thank you. What's included in the attic is, so we'll have our staircase that takes us up to this landing, and we'll have a mechanical area, a bathroom, unfinished space because of the slope of the roof, a small office, and ideally a bedroom for on the way. So that's what's going on up in the attic. So the attic exists except for two pieces of the attic: the front dormer and the dormer to make the staircase work. So I can show you that. So on sheet A3, we took the proposed design and we made some three-dimensional imagery. So we're creating some additional light for the bedroom, but also I think some curb appeal. And so we've got this peak here that extends from his existing, and a small little cute dormer in the back here. Both do not trigger any variances for front yard setbacks or anything like that. The only addition to the attic that requires the variance or triggers the variance would be that dormer. And then what's kind of interesting, so this is the imagery of the proposed mudroom on the first floor and the proposed expansion of the bedroom. So if I analyze that, I think it's on sheet A4. You can see the upper one's the proposed, and the lower one is what's existing. So to the credit of the FAR, I think that it's a great place to put the additional massing, located at the back of the house on top of the existing family room. So I think the only people who will be affected by it will be Delicious in terms of having some additional space. There's plenty of open and air space between the two neighbors that are affected by that additional massing. So if I may, show you some photographs that I took Friday evening. And so what we're seeing is,
So what you're referring to is the second page of A1.
yes,
And although the slide that you're showing doesn't appear to label those photographs,
thank you.
the printout that you handed out does. So if you can just make sure your testimony is consistent with the printout.
Yes, so
Thank you.
thank you for that. It was a late game decision to put some text to the pictures. But what we're seeing is on the top left photograph is Simon's home. To the adjacent neighbor, I measured 16 feet of space that will exist. And there'll be no change. That's an existing space that the Delicious have, an existing sunroom that the neighbor has. And if I look at the backyard of what's happening there, which is the lower right-hand corner, there's a lot of open space between what the neighbor has and what the Delicious will have. And you could see that they have a very similar type of addition to the back. The adjacent neighbor, if I'm in the backyard to the right. And then I had a chance to study the neighbor on the upper photograph. So this is the Delicious house to the adjacent neighbor to the right, 14 feet of open space, that doesn't change. And then, of course, it's their garage. That's one-story structure to the right. And I was just looking at maybe the impact of our addition to the neighbor, and I feel like it's pretty de minimis, I guess. So this is the existing three-dimensional rendering of what exists, and the next rendering I'm going to show you is the proposed dormer, which is what they'll be affected by, which is something like that. So
And these are all the renderings, Dan, that are on the plans that you've provided to the board. correct?
yes, yes. So I felt comfortable that we won't block anyone's sets of light and airspace. It's a great place for the additional massing, and that although we have 6 variances, we've certainly took care of 2 that you don't see that we were existing non-conforming, and we've lowered lot coverage and some other rear yard unoccupied. That's our application. And I forgot to mention that the basement is awful. It's about 6.5 feet tall, so the idea of trying to get some additional space down there was harder. So the attic seemed like a great place.
Would you say it was 6.5 feet tall? I didn't-
The basement, sorry.
Ceiling height. So the attic, is the improvements in the attic are counting towards your FAR?
No.
So you're getting that without it counting towards
Right.
your FAR?
Right.
It says removing existing paper patio of 289 square feet.
Mhm.
And then a new bluestone patio of 114. But yet it shows the dimensions at 12 by 12.6.
Our new patio
So
is what's 12? 6. Maybe the
where's the old patio?
old patio was this funny,
Is it that weird?
yeah,
like
this
shaped
funny
off?
organic thingy jiggy.
Is that what's in the photo?
That's what's in the photo, thank you.
And so the new patio's gonna be 12?
12 by 12 and a half. And I guess included in that lot coverage would be the platform
That's
instead.
more than 114 square feet. 12 by 12. I just wanted to make sure I was.
Yeah, that patio is 150 and I'm removing 289. So netting 139, but there might be some additional, we're playing some games here too.
Oh, so you were given the nets?
Yes.
Okay, all right, got it.
And we're gonna, be very clever about removing, there's some extra lot coverage, that we don't need.
Okay.
So we basically gonna get rid of all this stuff here. And this
Wait.
stuff here. Stuff is not good. So on sheet A1, proposed site plan, I'm indicating the area or highlighting the area of patio that will be removed.
Oh, that's.
Patio walkway.
Do you want to, since you've marked that up, Dan, you want to screenshot that? We'll make that an exhibit
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah, I'll send the whole file. I could just do a save.
Okay. So we're gonna mark as A2, handwritten clarification as to patio area removed. How's that? Dan?
Yes, it's good.
Is this an oversized lot?
It's slightly oversized lot. It's, I think, minimum six, we're 6,605.
You talk about the FAR that you're seeking in relation to this being an oversized lot.
Yes, I think that the property can handle this, thank you, this addition slightly because of the oversized lot, but I feel like more its unique character of how it's sited on the, well, there's no neighbors in the back. So certainly I think it would be a different environment if there was homes in the back and they had something similar. You'd feel a little bit overcrowded, I think, with anything in addition, but because of its siting, I feel like that the property can handle the mass and it won't be negatively affect the neighbors. And in terms of, again, positive criteria, I think that we update, modernize the home. We enhance the curb appeal and streetscape. And of course, give the Lishes a little bit of breathing room that they would really appreciate. And I don't see any negative as a result of it.
Just to summarize, and so everybody's clear. First of all, there were two existing non-conformities that have gone. As you mentioned, accessory setback, if I got that right,
Yes.
and accessory use coverage. They don't even appear on these,
They
but they're gone.
They're gone and they will appear on the, I guess it's Form F. So when we talk about accessory use, we go from being in a variance to not being in a variance. Accessory use coverage, we made conforming, and this one we made conforming.
Great.
Yes.
And then of the 6 variances, 2 have been reduced, if I got that right. Lot coverage, rear yard unoccupied.
Yes.
Of the remaining 4, side yard setback, the first one, that has not been exacerbated.
Exactly.
That stays. Additional side yard setback is exacerbated because of that additional door, the roof that you created for creating the staircase. Is that right?
I wouldn't say it's exacerbated, but it stayed the same. So
It is, okay, got it, okay, that's helpful.
Yes.
And then you mentioned about the building coverage, which is gone up, and I think you mentioned 97 square feet added, and takes to 200 something number, which I didn't.
226 is the.
226?
Yeah.
What's the breakdown in terms of the levels? I mean, the ground level and, where all are you adding that, just so we.
The 97 square feet will be added to the first floor for mudroom.
Okay, and then the remaining 129 is at the upper level?
Well, are we on building coverage or FAR?
The building coverage.
Yeah, building coverage does not increase as a result of adding to the second floor.
Okay. So where
It's all
else is
mudroom.
that? It's all mudroom.
All mudroom.
Okay, gotcha, okay. And then FAR is going up by, I think it was 36 is permissible, but you are at 42.9.
Yes.
Right. And so that's exacerbated from the
Yes.
current?
Yes.
Okay. So really, I think the exacerbation is coming from FAR and building coverage, if I were to.
And the lot coverage.
And the lot coverage is actually reduced, if I got that right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's only 2 which are actually going up. the other four are either the same or they are reduced?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the previous application that was before the board? I know that it wasn't yours, but
It wasn't mine, it was about 25 years ago, and it predates the FAR. And they were seeking the side yard setbacks and lot coverage and building coverage. And so I guess FAR wasn't in effect back then. So what I gather, and I didn't see a copy of the plans, but what I gather, this is the existing survey. So it seemed from the language that they basically added this piece. So they extended the existing nonconformity here, and then they made an effort to bring it in. And
Can I take a screenshot of that?
okay. And then I think it was potentially, it sounds like they added the garage pavers and the like. So that seemed like their application 25 years ago.
There's a note on the survey that the asphalt and curb from the subject property encroaches on adjacent lot 6, which is to, I guess, the southeast.
Yeah, I see that. They're 0.6 inches.
Yeah, is there any intention to rectify that with this current application? Given that the survey notes that it's your encroachment onto their property.
I guess we could talk to the neighbors, see if they would want you to. But basically, there's 6 inches at the worst case that you're.
I don't have a
Yeah.
position, I'm just
Oh.
asking a question.
We didn't discuss it.
Thank you.
Just to clarify again, the lot coverage, I know you said it was reduced, can you go over that again?
Yes.
The variance that you're requesting.
Yeah, the reduction was 110 square feet. We're gonna reconfigure the patio and some walkways, so we net differential negative 110 square feet.
Okay, but you still need a variance.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Comments?
I think it's a modest ask, thoughtful, and I think it is, it probably addresses the needs of the applicant, and without going overboard, I think it's kind of taking into account, what the needs are and trying to be as minimalistic, if I may put it that way. I think it's a very modest ask and it's a reasonable ask. I would support it.
I agree with Sean.
I think I appreciate the testimony. I think the considerations, I think the proposed front is very attractive. I think I understand the rationale. I think a 97 square foot mudroom is useful, does make the property or the home more ideal. Yeah, I guess if I was like trying to cut and figure and make it, it does seem like the garage is very big. I think the testimony that, you're backing onto basically a field that otherwise has a chain link tennis court behind you. Except for the hole in the fence. Doesn't, is not detrimental, it doesn't seem. So I think I appreciate the way that you testified to your attempt to be kind of thoughtful about the proposed application. So I think it's well done.
I will take those comments as my own.
Yes, I will. Yeah, okay, then we'll let you.
Yeah, I'd be supportive of the application as well. I agree with my colleagues. I mean, it's ironic a little bit to me that the things that maybe create more massing in the front are not the things that are contributing to FAR.
Right.
But to the extent that those things are in the back or the side, I don't, and the property borders on the playground or the field, I don't think it's a problem from a massing perspective, so I would be supportive of the application.
Yeah, don't you want to?
He said.
You want to,
started,
oh, okay,
yeah.
that's right, because we had so many wonderful comments, actually, I loved how you broke down all of the variances, that was actually very helpful for me. So thank you for that, and thank you for your testimony. The only thing that would potentially bother me is the FAR, but I think you explained it pretty well, very well. And it's a very modest ask in a modest neighborhood, and I like what you did, how you designed everything to fit, and lucky you that the attic isn't a detriment to your application, so
Right.
win-win.
Win-win. Thank you.
I'm gonna go against the grain here and say that I do have a lot of concerns about this application. I don't see how we could consider this a modest ask. With the amount that you're increasing the FAR, the building coverage. I know it wasn't the applicant's fault that there was already a variance here 25 somewhat years ago for maximum building coverage, but now we're exacerbating all of these conditions. I do worry about the massing, understanding that, the applicant wants to have a mudroom and, make things more functional for the family. I do have a real concern about the massing here. I don't think that this is a modest ask. But I'm just one person, so.
So the applicant understands that for purposes of this application, because it's an FAR variance, for the FAR variance portion, you need 5 affirmative votes. So you need to go 5 for 7 to gain approval of the FAR portion of the application. I would suggest under these circumstances why don't we split the vote and do a vote for FAR and then a vote for the other bulk variances separately.
I want to just ask, I think the answer is going to be no, but is there anyone from the public who has a comment that they want to make? Okay. So would someone like to make a motion?
Do we need a motion first on the FAR?
We're going to do a motion for the FAR first.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Chandra Harjani,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Regina Truitt,
Yes.
Beth Saul,
Yes.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
No. And do I have a motion for the other variances that have been requested?
So moved.
Second.
Chandra Harjani,
Yes.
Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Regina Truitt,
Yes.
Beth Saul,
Yes.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Jessica Glad.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just a misled.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's cool. But thanks. I'm going on. Screw up without the guys here to fix it.
Yeah, it was her.
But thanks.
I think we're not allowed to.
Did you like the Zoom or not? I like the way that, like, it was really easy to show people things on. I think it was better to present.
Pajamas.
Well, no, but I think it was easier to show.
Yeah, it was.
And so that's kind of what sort of what you did. All right.
Okay, So our final application for tonight is calendar 4027. It's 18 Exeter Road. And the applicant is Qureshi and Adia.
Thanks for staying for us.
Raise your hand. Perhaps you swear from testimony about to give in tonight's proceeding, truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Names for the record.
Timothy Quesson.
Sana Qureshi.
Mohammed Omar Adi.
Just spell your, both of you, spell your name.
Sorry?
Spell your name.
Sana, S-A-N-A, last name Q-U-R-E-S-H-I, Qureshi.
First name is Mohammed Omar. Last name is Adia, A-D-H-I-A.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're all sworn in. So go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time and for your consideration to our application today. Omar and I have been residents of 18 Exeter Road since May 2019. We moved in from the city with our son, who was then 5-year-old and was starting Deerfield. So I heard you're from the Deerfield School District. We love Deerfield. Yes, he's now in Washington. And this is the home where we had our second born in 2020. And we did some renovations in 2023. Actually, Tim was our architect in 2023 as well. So fairly like less than 2 years ago. But unfortunately, a fire broke out in our house in September 2024. So it was not, of course, a fun experience. We pretty much I think the first main level of the house was pretty much destroyed. There's no visible damage on the second floor, but the fact that the soot, the smoke rose up, it's all the way up into the attic, and that has really, it's not a livable house. We're currently renting out in Livingston. And so we are proposing some changes to this house. The insurance is recommending doing the whole first floor. We are doing the entire house, mainly because my son, Isa, who's now 10, and he suffered a stroke right few months before the fire. We've had quite the chaotic life over the last year, and we're trying to adapt these changes into the house for his new normal and our new normal since his stroke, and now with the fire, he's immunocompromised due to a vessel condition. So we just want to redo the whole thing more than what the insurance has recommended to us. So over to you, Tim. Good. Yeah. I'll go on. And then we may call you back. Sure. But you can sit.
Sure.
Or sit over here because my boards are going to block.
Oh, all right, sorry.
I'm a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey, and my license is in good standing. I've appeared in front of this board on numerous occasions and many other boards around the tri-state area, I guess I'd say. And my license, I guess I said that, my license is in good standing. So the site itself, I'll try to do this quickly for you. It's up on Exeter over there, and it's 18 Exeter. It's really lot 13, block 4407. It backs right up to Livingston in the back. Like when you come down Exeter there, if you made that little right on Ross Road, you come right into Livingston. Where, by the way, Brodeur used to live up there, by the way. If any of you are a hockey fan. But it's an R5 zone, okay? It's single family. It's around 14,500 square foot required. This lot is only 12,000. And that kind of leads us a little bit to be here. What we're looking for 2 variances tonight, and I'll walk you through them. The first one I'm going to say, I hate to use this word, but I'm almost going to say it's de minimis. And the second one is FAR, which is 360 square feet. But what we're really proposing to do at this point is take the building down to what I'm going to call the first floor deck, the floor of the first floor. So we're going to leave the existing foundation, make a couple of modifications to the foundation, and then just bring up all the new wood framing. And the theory behind this is that the block can survive a fire. It's kind of true that if you get homeowners insurance, you usually get it for about 80% of the value of the building because the foundation's going to be okay. And that's really what we're doing. And there's some benefit to this. There's some benefit to the neighborhood to this also, that it's a little less disruptive to the neighborhood because we're not
hauling dirt up and down the street. I don't know if any of you seen what's going on at my office at Chatham Road with the dirt on the street. It's out of control. And the hole that they built over there at this point. But, we can really avoid that kind of work and make it a little less of an impact to the neighborhood and be able to get these guys back into their house. And we have a couple of problems, like they want to add a bedroom to the first floor, and they think we may need that for their son, and or we think we do need it for him. And we still managed to hit building coverage. I didn't go over on building coverage. Remember, I got a lot that's 12,000, where I'm supposed to be at 14.5. But we're over on FAR when we got up to the second floor. And we have that because we have 4 bedrooms up in the second floor. And we sort of discussed it. And to be, I don't know if we could do a 3-bedroom second floor house. It just doesn't seem like it makes economic sense or it makes sense for the neighborhood to have a 3-bedroom second floor. And that's what's led us to this push of this extra FAR. If we, if I had another 1,000 square feet of area, I would actually, oh, that's false. If I had 1,100 square feet of area, I would actually conform with the FAR. So, and behind us is the old TBJ property. If you know, B'nai Jeshurun up at the top of the hill comes all the way down there. Sometimes you'd see them parking in that area down there during an overflow, like a high holiday. And there's this little area that actually comes behind them, which TBJ is now sold off to the neighbor on the Livingston side. And it's actually undevelopable. It goes to the end of their property, I'm going to say about 20 more feet or 30 more feet of TBJ property. Then there's a brook that's coming right through there. And then there's this additional TBJ property before we got to the neighbors on the Livingston side. And one of the neighbors on the Livingston side have bought all this land and, has kind of made a little bridge over this river and put in a little tree fort on the other side. But it's not accessible to be built. And I'm only saying that because you couldn't build a building that bridges over a little brook. You just can't do that. Maybe back in the day you could, but you just can't do it anymore. And the lot that's left on the other side isn't big enough to be able to support a house. So it's very safe to say that this is green space behind it. Actually, for all intent and purposes, appears to be part of this property. Not just for this site, but for also the sites on that road. And I've been here before with a couple of other sites on this same road, backing up the same way. So anyway, with all that in mind, I'm just going to try to walk you through my BOA sheets, which are exactly the same as your BOA sheets. Existing survey, and then on the right, the new survey. And you can see that really what we've done is we take this covered porch that was in front and we've enclosed it. And then we removed all of this paving that was behind and added our addition onto the back. We actually lowered lot coverage in this proposal by about, I think it's about 500 square feet that we lowered it, is what we did. But we have FAR. The side yard problem is developed because we're at 11.87 on this side. And we're running into the problem related to height, which I'll show you in elevation. It's a very small triangle that is the side yard setback above 18 feet. So now if I come down, my first floor plan, we really left the building as it was. So I have a lot of additional FAR in my foyer area that I kind of can't get rid of. If I could design a new house, it's kind of true, I think, to say that if you had a new house, it seems crazy to go for a variance for a new house. Although I see it in Livingston all the time for some weird reason. But the existing building has some site restrictions that are forcing me to be over on my FAR. And that's like this foyer area. It's also true that my bedroom on this first floor is not leading me high on FAR, but it's leading me to hit my building coverage, which in effect is making me high on my FAR when I take my extra building cover and transfer it up to the second floor. So really what I did was try to leave the existing building and tighten everything up as much as we could, but we ended up with more circulation than we would normally have if we had a new building because we're trying to renovate the existing. And then I come up to my second floor, we really have built, 4 bedrooms, and we put a laundry room up in the second floor. We'd really like to put the laundry room on the second floor. When I come to my elevations, my DOA 5 sheet, the area, you see I'm coming up here, I'm supposed to be at 12, I'm really existing non-conforming at 11.87. And then when I hit the 18-foot point, I start to go on the angle till I get up to 16 feet at 32. So that triangle, which we dimensioned here as 1 foot, is the triangle that the side yard setback problem is that we have tonight. The hip roof, addresses that. The hip roof we also did because the existing building is a hip roof. This building is actually as tall as the existing building, It's not up to 32 feet. It's still down at 29 feet where the existing is. And the hip helps to minimize the building and give us a little bit of visual relief from the neighbor. But we still have that, really it's an existing non-conforming condition. When we get beyond into the rear, we actually don't have it in our new work. It's really just in the existing non-conforming area. And because of something that's going on related to, I guess the grade dropping. When I get in the back here, it's really 1 foot 7 inches, right? Because the 18-foot height is related to the grade at the perimeter of the building in this case. And that's really, I took some shots of the, I saw a couple of you, tried to come up and knock on the door, but the house has, I guess, been unoccupied for about 6 months.
Have these photos been submitted to the?
No, and I'd like to, I guess I'll make it my A1.
Yeah, so A1 is going to be photo board of 5 photographs, and just provide a foundation for them, please.
These are the bottom 3, C, D, and E I took today, and the upper 2, A and B, I took off of Google, which actually, I think is a couple years old of these photos. But A and B is really the Google photo, and the D photo is as the building looks today. It really looks identical, except that I noticed that there's a little bit of a change in the little detail of the front door. So the house, when you looked at it, it looked like it was occupied, but I think it's been about 6 months
Yeah,
now.
September 10th is when we had the fire, so we had to move out. It's not a livable house right now.
But somebody's knocking on the door, I'm like, you're not going too far. Anyway, it actually was. So,
Nice
The,
to neighbors.
But, because it doesn't look like it is, it
Yeah.
looks fine. It
Well,
really does
that's-
look fine on the
we're
outside,
right
but you
about
go
the
inside.
fire and then-
And I
The
think the brick
backside
helped
is
it too.
more-
Even if you look in the windows on the door, you see stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you can see.
I read there was a fire and I'm looking in there.
And at first, when I first went in, I was like, there's a fire, where's the fire? But it's got all those, the fire problems. So the existing building had a hip roof, and that's really the same hip roof that we're replacing with. And we're trying to, push our building down on the streetscape because that whole area really has a nice scale, kind of Glenwood, sort of small scale, nice looking houses, and we don't want to blow it apart. This is the house immediately to the right, and this is another house that I just took up the street because it has that hip roof again, and it has the right side where the garage is, like what we're doing. it's pushed back a little off of that thing I like to say, the picture plane of the building, which helps to give me this mass as one mass and that as the secondary mass. All of that helps to keep the building in scale. It's, we're well shrubbed on the left side and not well shrubbed on the right side. And that's really, I think, everything. I think the site can take the FAR because the lot width actually conforms. The lot depth actually also conforms in this case. It's just that the lot area doesn't conform, you know. But I think with the use of the hip roof and the staggering of the facade, the site itself can accommodate the extra FAR that we're asking to add. I think probably the green space in the rear is important to us because when you look between these sites, you really see a lot of green back there. It's not like across the street where I look back and I see the neighbor's backyard coming right at me, sort of, if you were on the other side looking towards, I guess, Andover would be.
Yes.
Right? And that's everything I think I have. Is there any questions?
Can I just ask you
Yeah.
about the FAR?
Yeah.
I think I may have heard wrong, but did you say it was 360?
It's 260.
It's 329 square feet when I
Okay,
looked
thank you.
here.
But
I said it
Yeah,
wrong. I
you
said
said something,
360.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I think it was 360 and then we were able to
Yes,
cut it back.
Okay, so the
Okay.
329.
The 329 is
Is
accurate.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote down.
That's the
260.
overage, yeah. So, and you're saying that overage is primarily on the second floor?
Well, you know, we maxed, yeah, kind of, yeah.
What clause?
We maxed building coverage.
Right.
So once we maxed building coverage, we were short sort of on FAR for the second floor. Because let's say FAR is, or let's say you were 100 for first floor, it kind of would be at 80 for the second floor or something. So that's where we ran into
And you
trouble.
had said that you originally it was originally 360 square feet over, you reduced it to 329. Any thought to being able to reduce it a little bit more? So you don't have a 2.7%.
We just looked at it, and we actually thought we could maybe get about 40 square feet, kind of easily. And
Where would that be, Tim?
off the master. And I think it would help the sidewalk, because it would stop the sidewall from just continuing back.
So you punch it in a little bit.
Yeah, just bring it in on the second floor. We really need to
Master bedroom?
the master bedroom. And I think it would help the building and help the streetscape, actually. Because we have sort of a long wall at that point.
So you're willing to do that, come down? 40?
Yeah, I think so. I think it doesn't, yeah, there's no
So you're
impact.
16.7 deep on the master right now.
It's pretty big, yeah, that's what I
So what
mean.
would you go to?
But I was thinking 2 feet, because I sort of like that look of a 2 foot
2 foot punch?
setback, yeah. But I think it would,
Get you about 40.
yeah, I think it's big enough, and I think we've kind of discussed this before. I know Chatham is very concerned with this, with a very flat, long wall on the sides as you look back. And I think you guys have voiced that to me before also. It doesn't happen on the right side, because on the right side, we come back and then we go to a one-story building. It works out fine. But I think it would actually help us on the left side visually.
What are the areas that you think are contributing to the FAR? And again, does the basement, the construction of the basement add to the FAR at all?
No, the basement has nothing to do with the FAR. It's really the foyer. The foyer got big, and we tried to get rid of the foyer. And if I could really replan the entire building, I could have deleted the foyer and gotten rid of that FAR. And this bedroom on the first floor is contributing to the FAR because I can't use it on the second floor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we really worked pretty hard to put this into the rear and conceal it from the street and minimize the bulk of the building by hipping the roof and stepping the facade. And actually stepping that side would be helpful to that minimizing of the bulk.
Can you show us on the plans what you're talking about?
I know somebody hates this. I'm creating an exhibit. The, it's just, it's this.
You don't have to draw.
Okay, I won't draw. I won't draw.
Cap on the pen, point.
You know, all we do is draw all day.
And
It's
use
like,
your
it's like the
words
business.
to describe what you're pointing to.
I'm gonna go up along on the proposed site plan, on the left side of the building, and I'm just saying that I'm gonna reach a point, maybe back about 20 feet, come in 2 feet, and then continue back. And that would give me a one-story. You can see how we've done it in the rear where I have a one-story building. If I do it to the elevation, it would, or in plan, it would, I'm talking about deleting that much space. And what it would do is it would let the mass of the building read as this big, which is really what the mass of the building is. I mean, we probably should have done it in the beginning. Just, sometimes it's better to get away and look back at it. You know, we're kind of busy running through stuff in the office, but it would look better to be pushed in. And it has no effect on the building. When I come along, you see on this side, I create a line with the building. On my left side, you know, we want to create that same line. You can see how it would allow the hip to come through. It's a better solution. And, you know, and I don't know, I kind of think the bedrooms should have some intimacy to them. You know, they get too big, it's a bedroom, really. Well, I just mean, it's already, 16 feet is pretty big, you know, for a room.
How many?
Did we do this all day? That's all we talk about. Me and these three other guys is kind of.
So intimate. How
Too
many
much
bedrooms and
information.
bathrooms were there before, and how many are you going to?
There's presently 5, and we would end up with.
Yeah,
There is
5
5.
bedrooms before and
but
5.
they were all upstairs on the second level. Now for my son, we're trying to get one on the main level for him, just so he doesn't have to take stairs all the time.
So same number of bedrooms.
Yeah,
And
so
how about
we're still gonna
bathrooms?
be with 5 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms, right? Or, sorry, half.
There were 4 bathrooms before, and there's going to be 4.5.
No, upstairs, previously we had 3 bathrooms and 5 bedrooms. And now I think what Jim is proposing in the plan, it's 4 bathrooms and 5 bedrooms.
So you're gaining just 1.
1 bathroom.
We have
yes.
3 bathrooms on the second floor.
Yeah.
I guess we brought the laundry room up, right? The laundry
We put
room.
the laundry room
Oh,
upstairs.
yeah, put the laundry room up.
So currently our laundry room was in the kitchen, that's where the fire broke out. So it was the dryer, but it wasn't a lint fire. I'm not terrified because everybody went home and started cleaning their lints after hearing our story, but it was actually a motor fault. So the insurance company is suing the dryer company. It's like a long battle going on there.
So just in terms of the floor area, the FAR, you are at 2.7% over, but you're at 32.7%.
32.7, yes.
30%.
Yes,
The existing was 26.5.
yes.
So basically the delta is about 7-ish%, which is like, how much square feet does that?
Yes, 7 times,
Just trying to understand the additions, like the
I can give it to you, I have it.
breakdown between the first and the second floor, just because it's
The difference, the existing FAR in the house is about 3177 square feet, and the proposed is 3929. So it's a change of 750? 750, it's about 750 square feet. It's, It's about 450. No, it's bigger than it. It's like 600 square feet of it's on the first floor. It's really the first floor. Because the first floor, even, the building coverage impacts the FAR when they get up there to the second floor.
Even though you're adding 600 square feet on the first floor, it does not impact the building coverage.
No, our building coverage is under.
It's under, right.
Our lot coverage is actually reduced. Right, our lot coverage went from 33.7 down to 30.4.
And that's because you're moving the driveway, Tim, you're eliminating.
I guess it was the driveway that did
Putting
it.
the garage in the building.
Yes,
in the front.
yeah, our garages are currently attached, so I think in this plan we have it attached.
Yeah, like they can't get from the garage to
And
the
they
house.
We never had a mudroom to begin with. Yes.
But yeah, it's, we're allowed 35%.
Did you have a garage? So we do have a detached garage.
Attached.
It's
Sorry.
attached.
You drive in
Oh,
and then
okay, my bad.
back
Yes.
into it, kind of, or something.
Was it like under that?
No, it's not under, but it's low. There's
It's
no
low,
connection
yes.
between the garage and the house right now.
Yes, and there's no door, that's what I meant by like, it's not attached by a door, so we don't have a mudroom or that area right now.
It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think you'd probably go in that garage once, when you first buy the place, see if you could,
Yes.
but
you
that
have
would be
used
it, I would
ever
assume.
since, yes, I agree.
Tim, what's the new calculations with the modification that you're making to the second bedroom for the FAR?
The actual footage?
Yeah.
It's
Percentage.
3929.
Wait, is
No,
is
no, no,
that?
but that's what.
Oh, minus the 40, right? That's what you're
Yes,
saying?
are
Yeah, I
you
think it's 40
positive
feet.
it's 40?
3890.
I think it was 20 feet long. It's 19.7. It's like, it's like 39, it's like 38, let's say to be safe. It's like 38 square feet. So it's 3929 minus 38. I don't know. It's 3891. And
Is it like 32.4, right?
yeah, what's actually required is 3,600.
So we're by 291.
291, it's 291 square feet. Which I guess brought us probably down to the. But I think we've done a good job to minimize it visually by keeping the building low, right, at the 29 and hipping the roof in and getting that line between the garage and the building so that we could sort of scale the mass of the building down.
One car garage?
Yes, yes. It's a wide one-car garage,
Okay.
like wide enough to be able to deal in. Not like that 10-foot wide garage, that you can't get out of. Okay, everything else is fine. Rear yard unoccupied, rear setback, everything conforms. It's just these two items that are an issue tonight.
Any other questions from board members? Any questions from the
How big is the-
audience? I don't see anyone.
Sorry, can I
Yeah,
ask,
sorry.
the covered portico, does that contribute to your FAR?
Building coverage. Just
But
gave me
not-
building
Okay, but
coverage.
not the FAR.
No.
Okay, so
You're trying to find more FAR?
I'm trying to
for me?
find more.
Well, thank you.
Just saying.
The garage does contribute to the FAR,
It's only one car garage.
but it's wide. We made it wide enough that you could get in and out of it.
Any other comments from board members? Questions from board members? And I don't see anyone in the audience. How about comments from board members?
All right, I'll go. First of all, I'm sorry about the fire and your son's health problems. I'm hoping it's better luck with everything from now on. I certainly appreciate you want to rebuild the home. I honestly can't find anything in your first or second floor that I would carve out. There's a few things in the basement where I was like, well, I'd probably, but that doesn't affect any of the variances, so.
You can't get rid of the golf simulator.
Let's get rid of the golf simulator.
I want that there.
I know. That's it. There you go.
That's also for my son.
There we
We're
go.
trying to make him do a sport that he can do with his condition.
And it doesn't affect your variances,
It does.
so that's a happy coincidence for all of us. So I'm troubled by the FAR. You're building a new house and you're going over. It's like, so I'm just gonna let it sit at that. I think I could support this, because I don't know where you would carve out FAR, but I wish you would design a house that would fit.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like saying, oh, if I could find room in the foyer, but you are building it from the ground up, so it sort of feels like a conundrum. That said, I think, you're building an attractive house. I appreciate the work to comply with as many of the requirements in the ordinance as you can. So I think I can understand where you're coming from, and thank you for the offer of the setback to try to approach the limit. I think it's an attractive application.
Yeah, I like the, I like the design, the way we've gone ahead, that you have more building coverage, but you're still in compliance. And I think that's what is causing, as you mentioned, taking to FAR higher. We'd liked it to be lower, below the limits, but given the way it's designed, I think it's a better design than what it was. And you have a mud room and a walkway into your home. I think I could be supportive based on the totality of this.
I'll jump in. I think that the fact you're giving up on lot coverage is at least weighs off a little bit on the FAR, which I, like everyone else here, I have an issue with, just because it's, it's in process to keep the houses within a, a realistic scope for the neighborhood. As far as the side yard setback over 18 feet, I think you explained it amazingly well, and I agree with you. It's de minimis. You used that word, and I would use the same one. So I think we support it.
I don't have anything to add other than I would be supporting the application.
Well, also appreciate that you didn't put a second story of that, I'm gonna call it the family room part of your kitchen, family room, even though it is a little higher. But you haven't put a second floor over that, so you didn't try to squeeze everything.
Squeeze every penny, yeah. Thanks.
We also, have an undersized lot here. So I think that factors into things. We're talking about building a new house, and it is a new house, but at the same time, if they're keeping the foundation, then there isn't that much wiggle room to try to change things. So I'm actually okay with the FAR. And I'm glad that you're able to at least scale back that second bedroom a little bit to improve it somewhat. But I think that I think the property in the neighborhood can handle the massing, again, especially because this is an undersized lot. So I don't think that you would have these problems if the lot was in conformance.
So we're at 291 square feet on the FAR, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Over, okay, so we'll adjust our.
Let the record reflect that there is no one in the audience to comment. So I guess. Should
I think we can,
vote
based
or
on
we
the
can
comments
just-
on the
we
board, we
can-
can just take one vote.
Okay. So we're just gonna do one vote, and would someone like to make a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
As proposed.
But the
right,
motion is.
Motion to approve the application.
But-
Right, with the
With the
modification.
modification.
With the 38 square foot reduction
Reduction
in
in
the
FAR.
master bedroom.
I second that motion.
Chandra Harjani,
Yes.
Gary Rosen.
Yes.
Regina Truitt.
Yes.
Beth Stoll.
Yes.
David Bradford.
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks.
I scared your neighbors. You can tell them it was like zoning board people, but they were like.
No, nobody, we have an
I know.
amazing neighborhood.
No, they
They've
were
been so
like-
supportive to all.
And they
It's
really like.
I did have, I'll tell you, I did have two people call me from my neighborhood. Sana, there's
Yeah.
some people scooting
Yeah.
around your home.
I know.
Is
I know, I
everything
scared them.
okay?
They were
What's
like,
going
guys,
on?
This is pretty good.
Guys, we're still on. Yeah, so we need to first make a motion to adjourn, but are you gonna make a comment before or
I
after?
just want to make a comment, nothing to do with this application's over. I just want to advise the board that, as you recall, there was litigation that was filed by, a neighbor based on an application. What was the address of that?
99 Sagamore?
Yes, 99 Sagamore, good, yes. So there was an appeal filed by Ms. Gu in 99 Sagamore. We had a trial, Superior Court in Essex County. The judge ruled in our favor. So we prevailed on that trial court litigation. Ms. Gu proceeded to file an appeal with the appellate division. So that matter now has gone up to the appellate division. I will report back as I receive further information. Parenthetically, I'm not sure of the status of the appeal because technically you're not allowed to file an appeal to the appellate division unless all issues have been disposed of. And after we prevailed at trial, the neighbor filed an application with the court for reimbursement of attorney's fees that I don't believe has been heard. And so there's a question as to whether the appellate division should accept the appeal at this point because the trial court has not disposed of all issues. So stay tuned. I just want to let everyone know.
Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Would someone like to, there's no one in the.
I'll make a motion to.
Okay, well, I was just gonna also say, let the record reflect, there's also no one in the audience to bring up anything that wasn't related to, the, matters that were on for tonight. So with that, would someone like to?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, second too, and all in favor.
Second and third.
You have a camera on your property? Have a camera?
Still on, yeah, still on.
I'm gonna show off.
I did have a lot of neighbors call me and ask me if everything's okay.
That was the one.